Okay, so let us explain as we get our links live on our YouTube stream. We are in full costume. We are in full costume.
Why wouldn't we be? It's the day before Halloween.
Yeah, like everybody knows, as you do, you dress up on October 30th. No, we're having a big party with the big bosses over here at iHeart San Diego. So I'm dressed as Lieutenant Ornberger. I am a public safety officer. I've served on the force for I guess 15 years now.
Those handcuffs real?
I'm getting close to my pension. Oh no, we're getting the rainbow screen of death.
Why are you getting
on this camera again?
Oh geez.
Yeah. Somebody's got to reset it. It's not going to be me. I'm going to use my computer. Here we go.
Not going to be
me. But yeah, so I'm dressed as a officer of the law here to protect and serve. Ben, you are?
That's a good question. I don't know. Travis Dale in the 70s?
What? Wait, what? I was like a zygote in 1979.
You were the only one who was alive at all in the 70s. But 70s party goer, club person.
Yeah, you
maybe
look,
the Bee Gees.
you're kind of porn starish.
Yeah.
You look like the guy who shows up to the Halloween party who realized on his drive over, like, oh my God, I didn't buy costume. And so you stopped at CVS and you got whatever fit you.
Bingo.
and luckily with the outfit, they had a gold chain necklace that says 1970s.
Well, Kendall has this like adorable outfit, right? A really nice dress. Like she's a 70s like swing dancer, something. I don't know. And like she looks hot. And then she was like, you have to get something. And I said, what am I going to do?
I love how women, they can just be like, this year for Halloween, I'm going to be hot. And like, it works. Everybody's just like, oh,
yeah, of course.
Yeah. No, that works.
Of course
it works for
hot.
you. Yeah. You should be hot for Halloween. I'm going to be something that I find in a bag with a wig. And then
Bingo.
Travis, you are?
Travis Kelce. Yeah. Same deal though. Fletch had to do the couple's costume, and it had to be somewhat easy. So Sarah's like, of course, Taylor Swift. I'll be Taylor Swift. And then so then I became Travis Kelce. However, I feel like it worked out. So I put the jersey on for the first time Saturday night. I felt like a disgusting human being because I'm a Bronco fan. I can't be putting on a Chiefs jersey. However, I think it fixed Russell Wilson.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I did it.
At the very least, it broke Patrick Mahomes.
So led by defense, the Broncos inexplicably beat the Kansas City Chiefs amid one of those seasons where if you're a Broncos fan, and TD is a Broncos fan, and we've been haranguing him for the majority of the season.
You could have been haranguing me for the past 8 years.
Good point.
Yeah.
Solid point. But this was an unexpected ending. Look, I spent a lot of time at playgrounds, and you look at playground equipment. It's the seesaw or the teeter-totter, up and down and up and down. It's the swing back and forth and back and forth. It's the slide up and back down and then up and back down. The NFL works the same exact way. It is playground equipment. You have no idea what's going to happen week to week. Every single week, one of these teams that's scraping bottom beats one of the team that's soaring with the Eagles, and you never know who it's going to be, whose number's getting drawn. And at the bakery counter this week, it was the Kansas City Chiefs getting taken down by Sean Payton and Russell Wilson and company.
It was a beautiful thing. Now, they're saying that, or I guess they said during the game, that Patrick Mahomes had the flu. But I mean, if you had the flu so bad that you couldn't play, why'd you play?
So he wasn't the only starter who, like hours before pregame, it was announced that had some sort of illness. There was some, maybe, I'm trying to remember now. There was somebody else who, it was like an odd, like last minute reporting, and also on the injury report with illness is XYZ, but Patrick Mahomes was one of those players. And I think this is a direct response to what happened with Bijan Robinson. So the Atlanta Falcons may get fined, and it may be a hefty fine by the league for their investigation into the reason why Bijan Robinson had 6 touches in the Atlanta Falcons games 2 weeks ago. A lot of people were pissed about that. Fantasy owners were pissed about it. Yep, boom. Prop bettors who took Bijan Robinson and his prop bets, they were pissed about it.
Well, just Vegas in general, because their line is now screwed up, and I don't know if they had to refund bets. I'm sure they didn't, but it was set at like 82 and a half yards over under, and their lines got thrown out the window as soon as that game started.
Yeah, so I think everybody was extra careful in the week after all that went down.
So now, Rich, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
The NFL season, it goes through the winter months. A lot of these stadiums are outdoors. Guys get sick this time of year. Hell, I mean, Kendall's around kids all day. Every single one of her first graders is a snot spraying fescue of human sickness right now.
We love everyone in that classroom.
Exactly. But when you're dealing with the NFL season, like guys have kids, guys get sick. They get sick from their kids who get sick from the other petri dishes at their school.
Mhm.
And then guys have to play games. How much does a flu really affect the play on the field?
For some guys, it really affects their energy level and their ability to concentrate. I was fortunate because I always felt better once I started playing. Halftime sucked though. For me, I always realized I remember,
need OJ.
Yeah, like you feel, because all of a sudden the adrenaline wears off for a second. And normally that's a good thing for me at halftime. Like you let the adrenaline wear off, you kind of stretch out, I don't know, you have a second to like get away from the headache of concentration out there on the field. But when you're sick, or at least from my experience being sick and playing through it, is halftime, I would have to like really amp myself back up to get out there for the second half. I remember one time at Penn State, I was sick for 4 days leading into the Alamo Bowl. We played against Texas A&M. Okay, so Penn State, Texas A&M, 2007 Alamo Bowl. In that game, I had a 104-degree fever at kickoff. And I'll tell you right now, I felt great through the first 2 quarters. I felt like ass during halftime, awful during the third quarter, felt like Superman during the fourth quarter. And after the game, slept in the locker room, in the training room, until legitimately the lights were off in the stadium. And the trainer, I think the doctor forgot about me, and all true. I think they forgot I was in there, and somebody came back for me. And they were like, yeah, so you gotta like take a ride home in the car. The bus is all left. Like, you gotta go. And yeah, so that was terrible. But you play through it, right? You find a way. Like you said, it's the NFL. You can't use flu or sickness as an excuse, but I think it had an impact on Patrick Mahomes' day.
He looked terrible.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to give all the credit to the Broncos defense, because we saw that Broncos defense give up 70 points. So something else had to be off. And I think Patrick Mahomes, whether he was dealing with the flu, they were looking at his left hand at some point during the game, but that's not the one he throws the football with. But Mahomes looked awful. And yes, there were some drops from some wide receivers, Sky Moore dropping a wide open touchdown in the end zone.
Yep.
Like that was terrible. But for the most part, Mahomes was missing guys. He didn't have the energy that you see when it's like 3rd and 7, and he usually runs for those and gets them. He was not the same person. And I will say, TD, credit to your Broncos. Whatever game plan was devised, it worked. And Sean Payton might just be a GD genius.
Well, yeah, I don't know about that. I'm sure there was some luck involved there, but I'd rather be lucky than good, if you know what I'm saying. And the game plan in the second half was don't let Patrick Mahomes back out on the field. So
and don't turn it over.
And don't turn it over. That second half, the Chiefs had the ball one possession, until under 6 minutes left in the game. Yeah, that works. I mean, that's how you get a win. Don't let the guy out there.
Yeah.
Broncos going to win the Super Bowl.
I mean, we're rolling right now.
Bowl.
16 games against Kansas City that the Denver Broncos have lost. 16 straight games. They finally broke the streak.
And now, TD, as I'm sure you've seen on X this morning, you have skyrocketed up listener Patrick's power rankings to numero uno.
Wow.
I have inexplicably dropped from 1 to 4.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Inexplicably, I can't even say it. It's probably because you have to wear the medallion stating what decade you're dressed as.
You know, if you're going to talk crap, just...
It's great.
Like,
great costume.
people ask me to dress up, I dress up, and now all of a sudden, like, come on.
It's really great.
Come on.
No.
Wait, well,
No, looks good on you.
I also noticed we're the only 3 idiots who are dressed up here right now.
Okay, so the text in the group chat goes around this
what
morning.
the hell?
Yeah.
And
The boss emailed us.
You look good with hair, though.
And by the way,
I hate hair.
we got emailed a reminder. Like,
Right,
you guys gotta remember to dress up for the noon party. So yeah, we're 6 hours early. Big deal.
What? ever.
Gosh. And we're already being made fun of by the rest of the staff here who's shown up for their shows this morning because nobody's dressed up.
They're just
Correct.
jealous.
In fact, somebody who was at the Halloween party that TD and I attended this weekend just looked at me and goes, "You never took off your uniform, officer." I'm like, "That's Lieutenant, you insensitive bastard."
Well, it's Halloween tomorrow.
Yeah.
What do you want to get to? You want to get to Chargers here? Or you want to get to what's the scary situation out there in Minnesota?
Oh, I like that. Yeah, unfortunate situation in Minnesota. We'll get to Chargers Bears in just a second here, but how about Kirk Cousins reported in game that they fear a Achilles tear, and then all of a sudden,
no doubt,
all of a sudden we get the news that most likely an Achilles tear, and then this morning confirmed per sources an Achilles tear. So Kirk Cousins done for the year, obviously. Vikings, they win, but at what cost?
Now, do they decimate the team? I mean, do you just unload now?
Well, if you're Justin Jefferson, are you coming back in to play with a backup quarterback?
I kind of feel like they might be buyers at the deadline.
Wait,
okay,
what?
hang on.
Make that make sense.
Wait, hang on. Just give me 1 second.
I can see them not being sellers, but buyers?
Okay. So you trade for a quarterback. Right now, you're ranked second in the NFC North.
Okay, Ryan Tannehill's out there.
The Bears are awful.
Justin Fields is out there.
You just beat the Packers. They're awful. They're definitely not trading in division. They're not going to be like, listen, we're going to stick with teabags. You guys can have Justin Fields.
That's a good point.
Did you see him, by the way, on the sideline last night? He looked like he was almost wearing that 1970s costume.
Justin Fields?
Yeah, he's got sunglasses
yeah.
on the whole night. He's just sitting there smacking on gum.
That's what I'm missing. I need sunglasses. Like some aviators, maybe?
Hang on.
What?
These will actually probably look
I
good on you.
don't think you need aviators. I think you can go ahead and go with your normal douchers.
Actually, I kind of like these in studio. I may wear
They look
glasses
good.
every day.
You kind of look like T2.
Hang on a second. Check this out. Yeah.
I was thinking
This
either
is-
T2 or like
This is going back on. I brought the adhesive with me.
Good.
The mustache really makes it. I can't tell you how many times. Look, this tells you either A, how drunk people were at the Halloween party that TD and I were at, or the fact that I guess people assumed that the party we're at, the cops would be called at some point. Legitimately, like 3 or 4 people came up to me asking if I was a real police officer. I was like, "Are you out of your
you
mind?"
look the part, you're burly,
really
you're
do.
big.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you look like one of the guys from Top Gun, like one of the officers.
Also, by the way, I stood like this the whole time. I had
Boy.
like I made sure to like stand like a cop on the
cop
on the
stance.
Yeah, the cop stance. I was like, whoa. All right. Yeah. You just
Rich Ornberger wears a costume well. I mean, real well. I'm just saying.
I can hang a uniform. I wish I had a uniform job. We show up in t-shirts every day.
Man, should we make uniforms?
Holy God.
Well,
how did you not do
this?
I mean, I wore a uniform my whole life in the NFL. I came here and I'm just like, something's missing. I didn't realize until you just said it. You're wearing a football. Maybe we'll wear football uniforms.
Or we get
Like complete psychopaths.
We'll get like the work shirts made with a patch and our name on it.
Yeah. Yes. We'll have like the show emblem, and then it'll just say TD above yours, Big Ridge.
Yeah, like every 3 days I'll wear one
Fletch.
that says like Mike or Steve. I'll be like, I don't know, I was out.
Yeah. But I wore Steve's shirt because mine's in the wash.
Right.
So you think the Vikings are gonna be buyers?
So follow me here. They're 4-4, second in their division. The Detroit Lions, especially depending on what happens tonight against the Raiders. Now, I'm not guessing the Raiders are going to win in Detroit on Monday Night Football, but weird stuff happens. The Denver Broncos just beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
True.
So if all of a sudden the Detroit Lions get beat by the Raiders, and you're coming off this win and losing Kirk Cousins, and you have an opportunity to win your division, if I'm Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, I am banging on the table. Get me a quarterback.
Okay, then let's think about names. Kyler Murray hasn't returned to play for the Cardinals yet, who seem insistent on not having Kyler Murray be their quarterback of the future. Ryan Tannehill's out there after the performance that Will Levis had.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where else?
I mean, you named 2.
Cam Newton?
Very intriguing. Cam Newton is
Robert
still
Griffin
banging
III
around.
wants to play again.
Is that true?
He said it on his podcast before. He said that he thinks he's still one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the world.
Let me see.
He's one of the best 32 in the world.
Yeah,
So he can start.
He could start. That's what he says.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think he's necessarily shopping himself. He has a pretty cushy job at ESPN right now, but
I don't know if he was one of the best 32 in the world when he was starting.
I don't think so.
Well,
either.
for a year,
But you're
maybe
right,
a year and a half.
right.
You can make that argument because he was like before, but he predated Kaepernick, right? It was him who we were like, oh wow, yeah.
Well, he had the Rookie of the Year season where he was legitimately awesome. Then he tore his ACL, right? He got his knee all mangled up.
It wasn't just the ACL; he tore a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, that was a bad injury.
Yeah, and then played through it. Like that was the worst part. Is came back probably too soon from that, ruined his career. The rest is history. But yeah, I mean, look, again, names aside, I feel like the Vikings could be buyers. It's possible. You can make sense of it if you really try to. And if that's the case, I mean, it just, again, it goes back to what we were talking about to start the show. You just never know where this league is going to go. I mean, Kirk Cousins, this is a devastating blow to the Minnesota Vikings and to Kirk's career because he's on an expiring deal where he's going to play. If I'm Kirk Cousins, you know who I'm rooting for this year? The New York Jets to make the postseason and Aaron Rodgers, especially Aaron Rodgers, to come back because then it shows everybody that an aging quarterback can come back fully healthy from an Achilles tear, and then it'll help him get a contract with another team next season.
Well, we haven't touched on it quite just yet, but the Chargers did dominate the Bears last night in Sunday Night Football. They win 30-13. Some more scores around the NFL. Panthers get their first win of the season. They beat the Texans 15-13. We talked about this. The Broncos did take down the Chiefs for the first time since Peyton Manning was there playing. Also, the first time Patrick Mahomes has lost to the Broncos. Not a great game for Travis Kelce either, but
first time Mahomes has lost on the road in division in his career.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that not the craziest stat?
Wow. Oh my God. That's incredible. Taylor Swift not in attendance at that game. So
that's why.
Yeah. So they're going to have to get her a ticket to every single one of these. And Fletch, let me throw a number out for you.
I don't want to hear it.
517. 517.
Is that the amount of yards the Bengals got on the Niners?
No, that's how many hours it's been since Brock Purdy's had his last win.
Yeah, 517 hours. Boy, it feels like so much longer than that even.
Right. It's been 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Yeah, the Niners lost. Joe Burrow all of a sudden looks like he could win the whole damn thing.
Dude, who was on the call of that broadcast? I don't remember, but it was Tony Romo and Jim Nantz. And Romo pointed it out. He was like, the Bengals are the one team in the NFL that as soon as everyone got healthy, you're like, oh, they're back. They're going to be Super Bowl contenders.
Well, I was saying it before the game on Fox Sports Radio yesterday. I was like, this is going to be the turning point game for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Joe Burrow has juice in his legs again. He's like fully back healthy. You could tell his connection with all three of those receivers, which they have three dudes who could be wide receiver ones on most teams in the NFL. Like, Burrow's back.
Burrow's back. The Cincinnati Bengals are an underrated team overall. Hendrickson is a problem. They have a great D-line. They have the best or one of the best quarterbacks in the league, depending on which week we're talking about or which year we're talking about. If Joe Burrow is him. The Bengals, they're going to roar back to life here. And okay, before we move on to Sunday Night Football, and we may have to do it on the other side since we're already talking about it, the 49ers have a Purdy problem. A pretty big problem.
It's like he waited until the national media came around on him, and everyone was like, okay, man, I guess this guy is really good. And now he's just throwing interceptions all over the place.
Well, we got to see how he handles this adversity. This is the first time throughout his young career that he's actually faced real adversity. And so far, it has not gone well.
Good time for a bye week.
Now, yeah, I was about to say, taking a break here, respite, that could help. He needs to get healthy. That could help. He's lost to also two teams in this 3-game stretch that I think are really good. And the Vikings are, before the Kirk Cousins injury, is a team that's on the come. So the Browns, the Vikings, and then the Bengals, that's not an easy route. Like, all three of those teams could be in the playoff conversation, are currently in the playoff conversation, and absolutely could be wreckers in the playoff when we head to January. But yeah, as a 49ers fan, Fletch, your thoughts on Brock Purdy now versus your thoughts on him when the season started?
It's got to be mental, right? Some of the interceptions he's throwing are just so uncharacteristic from the first 12 games of his career. And it's tough to watch because you want to go out in there and give him a hug, but also you're thinking, man, if he was like concussed last week and you found out about it later on, and on Wednesday he was still in concussion protocol, and I'm not making excuses. If he was cleared to play, he should have played, but maybe this should have just been a Sam Darnold week.
Yeah, look, I don't know.
It's clearly mental to me. It's got to be.
Yeah, but I also think, I mean, and this was my complaint or my concern, I guess, with Brock Purdy, is you just can't put too much on him. And the past few weeks, they've had to put a lot on Brock Purdy, and they're forcing him to do a lot, and he's just not there yet, if he'll ever get there. But it's just, Brock Purdy is a great quarterback, and he works in that system. He just doesn't work in the system when it's like, hey, man, it's all on you. You got the keys. You got to drive this thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that and this isn't an insult. Like, I do think there's value to being a system quarterback and working within a system. But you do need to have that intangible to be great. You need to have that intangible that when the game comes down to you making plays for your team as a quarterback, you find a way to do that. I don't know if he has that quality. I thought he did prior to this 3-game stretch. I was defending that he had it against Cleveland on the road. The tide had turned against the team. He was having an awful game. He got them within field goal position. Jake Moody misses the field goal. If that's a win over this 3-game stretch, this feels a lot better for Niners fans. This feels a lot better if you're Brock Purdy. They didn't. That kick sailed wide right. And all of a sudden, it's completely different feeling because you're on a 3-game losing streak heading into a bye week. So they got a lot to fix. I think especially he needs to get healthy.
You're on a 3-game losing streak heading into a bye week where you come out and play the Jaguars.
Right. Who are red hot.
It doesn't get any easier. And I also think that Kyle needs to look in the mirror a little bit because throughout his career, he's been really good when things are going his way. Right? Kyle Shanahan's a really great play caller, coach, everything when things are working how he wants them to work. Over the last 3 weeks, something in his system has gotten figured out. And defenses are starting to get wise to the Kyle Shanahan where receivers aren't always wide open anymore, and that's making Brock's job a little more difficult. So again, bye week comes at a good time, a little coaching reset, also figure out what defenses is figured out about your offense and move on and hopefully save this season because 3 losses in a row, man, all of a sudden you're looking up at the Seahawks.
You got to remember also who you're playing and give credit where credit's due. Arguably the best defense in the league in the Browns. The Vikings, if you've watched what the Vikings defense has done lately, it's been nothing short of remarkable, especially consider what they lost in free agency
so
this
much
offseason.
Pressure on quarterbacks.
I mean, they've been dominant. Look at their past couple of games. They've really stepped up to the challenge and helped them stay afloat in their division. And then you look at the Bengals I was just talking about. I think one of the most underrated defensive units in the league. Hendrickson was a problem all game long, especially without your bookend left tackle. I mean, it just looked bad for the 49ers.
Before TD tells us about how skinny we are, one other thing that needs to be pointed out is Steve Wilks is the defensive coordinator for the 49ers right now. This defense has not looked the same this year as it has in years past. And I think that comes from back-to-back years of losing defensive coordinators. So first it was Robert Saleh, whose head assistant was D'Amico Ryans. D'Amico Ryans takes over that job. He was great. And well, now he's the head coach of the Houston Texans doing good things. Steve Wilks has come in to be the defensive coordinator as an experienced voice, but he wasn't on the staff a year ago. And I think there's just been some sort of disconnect with this defense to where the Niners are giving up points that they usually don't.
Speaking of how skinny we are, you kind of look like a young Barry Gibbs.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah. He was in the Bee Gees.
The Bee Gees.
Yeah. Him and his brother.
Yeah. That's you.
Dude,
that's
actually,
You're Barry Gibbs.
I'm Barry Gibbs. That's my costume.
But
we're gonna tell everybody. We're gonna tell everybody.
He's Barry Gibbs. He's Barry Gibbs. Dude. So hold on here. Also, Fletch. You are also the one who has, I think, lost the most overall. Yeah, look at you. My God.
No, yeah.
Yeah, you are very trim, sir.
Look at
very trim. It's unbelievable. We've been doing SDFatLoss.com. You've heard us talk about it here the last several weeks. We started this thing. We were tipping the scales at some of the heaviest weights we'd ever been. And now we've been losing it quick. Over 6 weeks. Are we at 7 weeks now?
7 weeks as of yesterday.
7 weeks as of yesterday. I've lost 30 pounds. Fletch, you are now at
35 on SD fat loss,
That's
like
crazy.
50 total.
It's
Boom.
crazy. And Rich over 35 pounds as well. So look, man, it works. If you're sitting here staring down the holidays going, I better get a handle on things now, stfatloss.com is where you want to go. The coaches, the staff over there, they will show you the correct way to do this. They'll show you the right way to eat and the way that you need to continue the lifestyle here if you want to keep the weight off. They'll also help you lose the weight fast. Maybe you're trying to get trim, trying to get into that well, I guess we're already at Halloween, but maybe you're trying to get into that holiday outfit, dress, whatever it may be, for the holiday party. You want to look good. You want to look trim. That's why you go to stfatloss.com. No exercise required. You don't have to count points. You don't have to count calories. There's none of that stuff. You just eat right, and you follow what the coaches tell you to do over there. stfatloss.com. Schedule your free consultation today. You got nothing to lose except all those unwanted pounds. So start your journey today. We'll do it all together. stfatloss.com.
All right, coming up next, Sunday Night Football saw the Chargers finally get back on track. Huge win over the Bears. What does it mean for their season? What does it mean for Chicago moving forward? We'll get to that next. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch.
Chargers get a win on Sunday Night Football. How huge was that for them? We'll get into it coming up next. This update is presented by DraftKings. We'll begin here in the NFL. Sunday Night Football. Chargers get a much-needed win over the Bears. Final score 30-13. Cowboys hammer the Rams 43-20. Eagles sneak past the Commanders 38-31 on their tiptoes. The Bengals took down the Niners 31-17. TD's Broncos embarrassed the Kansas City Chiefs. Final score 24-9. Monday Night Football tonight. It's between the Raiders and the Lions in Detroit. Kickoff 5:15. You're going to hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. World Series, we're all tied up at 1 game apiece. The series will travel to Arizona for the next 3 games. First pitch is tonight at 5:03. And in college football, San Diego State had the weekend off. They will return home this Saturday, taking on Utah State. Kickoff scheduled for 4 o'clock. Brady Hoke will be on the show this morning, coming up at 7:30. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
Big Rich, Sheedy, and Fletch at San Diego Sports 760. And coming up on the show today, your chance to win a pair of tickets to go see Lainey Wilson.
I got a heart like a truck.
Yeah. And a dump like a truck. She
got a big butt.
She got a big butt, but she's proud of that thing.
Oh, she loves it.
Oh, she should be. She should be. That's all I'm saying. Lainey Wilson, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on August 23rd. You can get over to livenation.com for tickets and info, or just keep listening for your chance to win. Also, were you a big fan of Friends?
Big time.
Sad day on Saturday as Matthew Perry passes away.
So I don't know how they did it so quickly, but Friends can be found now on HBO Max.
Okay.
Kendall wants to watch Friends now because that's all that was on social media, and she'd never seen it before. So we popped open the first episode on Sunday morning before the NFL games, and the first thing that pops up on the screen is this big in memorandum. How do you say that word?
Yeah, I believe you said it right.
Okay, yeah. Of Matthew Perry, and it's like HBO turned that around quick.
Yeah, I mean, also that. So Saturday night, it must have been 5 o'clock ish, I guess, when we got the word Matthew Perry's passed away. We're at a hotel. We went up, stayed in the room, got there about 6:30 or so, and there was already like a Friends marathon happening on TNT or something.
Now they say drowning.
What?
Oh, boy.
The cops are here. Everybody get out. Yeah, they said drowning. They initially said no drugs involved. However, they also said now that they found a lot of different prescription drugs in the room. So I mean,
he was supposed to be sober, wasn't he? Like,
and maybe he was. I mean, there was antidepressants and different things. Yeah, and my guess would be that there was a number of prescription drugs that were taken at the very least, and he was in a hot tub and it was nice and warm, and I mean, he passed out.
You feel good about that whistle now?
No, I feel awful. I walked in here from the break room assuming you guys are having fun and not talking about the death of one of the most beloved television stars of, I don't know, the past 50 years.
How about human history?
Matthew Perry, this is an interesting quote. Now, I don't want to bring the show all the way down, but I do want to share this because somebody shared it with me. So this is attributable to him, I think. I'm going to read it. It's a beautiful message, and it sounds like all of it's true, but this apparently was stated by Matthew Perry a while ago. I've had a lot of ups and downs in my life. I'm still working through a lot of it personally, but the best thing about me is that if I'm an alcoholic or a drug addict, if an alcoholic or a drug addict walks up to me and says, "Hey, will you help me?" I always will say yes. I know how to do that. I will do that for you, even if I can't always do it for myself. So I do that whenever I can in groups or one-on-one. And I've created the Perry House in Malibu, a sober living facility for men. I also wrote a play, The End of Longing, which is a personal message to the world, an exaggerated form of me as a drunk. I had something important to say to people like me and to people who love people like me. When I die, I know people will talk about friends. And I'm glad of that. Happy I've done some solid work as an actor, as well as given people multiple chances to make fun of me and my struggles on the World Wide Web. But when I die, as far as my so-called accomplishments go, it would be nice if friends were listed far behind the things I try to do to help other people. I know it won't happen, but it would be nice. So that's from Matt Perry.
Well, yeah, very, very sad. Man, those are heartbreaking words, but luckily Fletch just walks in here and flips his Barry Gibbs hair around. So now we all feel better. Yeah. So no easy transition out of this, but it's just sad. It's heartbreaking. And if you know someone with an addiction problem or, any way you can help out, of course, reach out to someone.
Oh yeah.
Make sure you ask for help.
I mean, it's look, it's one of those things that I think everybody in their life knows somebody who's afflicted with some sort of addiction, alcoholism. I mean, it's genetic, it's hereditary. So if you have one in your family, most likely there's more than one. It's a sad state of affairs, but it's taken a lot of people from us. Hopefully, if you're out there listening to us this morning, looking for the strength, talk to somebody, call somebody, get yourself some help, because nobody wants to see ultimately what happened to Matthew Perry, because super talented guy who cared about other people like him and wanted to see them get help. So in his honor, do that for yourself if you're looking for a reason. Okay. Sunday Night Football last night. Sunday Night Football was kind of exactly what I thought it was going to be. I figured the Chargers would eventually have a game like this. I do want to point out that completely different feeling entering this game. And I'm sure you guys feel, and I'll explain it. You felt the same exact way as me. I guarantee it. 2-win team in the Chicago Bears, 2-win team in the Los Angeles Chargers felt like completely different storylines, right?
1,000,000%.
Like
1,000,000%.
They are not even in the same a universe.
Well, because it was odd that when the 2-5 teams are now matched up, you have a feeling of one of these teams is completely decimated, and falling apart, and the other team, about to skyrocket and take off here because they're going to get it right.
Yeah. It's only a matter of time before Justin Herbert takes over a game, starts to take over the season, and we get to see how special he is. He's also been banged up. Like, that finger, I think, has really been holding him back over the past couple of weeks, and it looks like it's better. Also, Kellen Moore, credit to their offensive coordinator. Kellen Moore came over from the Dallas Cowboys. That was the game plan that they should have been running the past 2 weeks. Keep it close to the line of scrimmage, get it to Austin Eckler and your other playmakers within 5-10 yards. I mean, that first quarter, he ends up throwing 2 touchdown passes and perfect 11 for 11, 120 through the air. I mean, the ball didn't travel more than 5 yards to my eye.
Herbert's so much better when he has a run game to play off of that opens up some passing lanes for him. And for the last 5 weeks now, he hasn't had that because Eckler has not been healthy. Last night was the first time Austin Eckler's looked remotely like himself of the last 5 years. And he was awesome. And that was great.
But it wasn't even the run game. Dude, they were held to 54 yards on the ground.
But using Eckler as a runner out of the pass.
See, that's
Eckler got like 6 receptions in the first half and they were all tight.
But that's my point, is it's not about the run game. That's what they were trying to do the past couple of weeks. Like, look, Justin Herbert is what makes that engine go. And they had this commitment when he got hurt, like, we're going to just stuff the run up in there. And even with Eckler, like, they're just not a very good run team or rushing offense. Getting the ball to their playmakers in space, that's what the Chiefs do. I mean, like, what are they relying on? Isaac Pacheco? No, they're relying on the most special playmaker they have on the field, Patrick Mahomes, to deliver the football to all the other playmakers.
The one you're paying to do it. The one you're paying to do it. 31 for 40, 298 yards, 3 touchdowns. Herbert did all right.
Yeah. That was a very good stat line.
Yeah. By the way, that second half was played just because they had to. I mean, that
it was over.
It was over. And the Chargers looked so dominant over the Bears in the first half. There was nothing. I mean, zero doubt in my mind that the Chargers were not winning that game.
Has the shine come off of old Tyson?
Yeah, a little bit. Old teabags.
He looked a little more like a undrafted rookie quarterback yesterday.
Yeah, and you knew it was going to happen eventually. I was hoping that this game, when I talked about this game, I was like, man, I hope this is a shootout. Like, all of a sudden, it's the fourth quarter and it's like 24-35, Chargers or Bears for that matter. And like, it's going to come down to like 2 or 3 drives between the two teams to sort it out.
Chargers had to be thinking, thank God we just didn't come down to the final minute of the game. We didn't have to do that.
Yeah, exactly. They've been in a bunch of close games this season. They put some pressure on Bajent. I think what they did the best is they just kind of forced him to make mistakes. They hurt him a little bit, and he did. He threw some awful balls. He really, really did. Struggled out there. I'll tell you who didn't. Tennessee Titans quarterback Will Levis.
Woo!
That
Look at him.
guy.
You think he's calling his ex-girlfriend, be like, "See, I told you I can do this.
Put a
You
little,
left me as soon as I didn't become a first rounder."
little extra mayonnaise in his coffee this morning. We'll get to that game
Good
and
God.
many more, dude. Yeah, he puts mayo in his coffee. He's a
Also,
sick
DeAndre
bastard.
Hopkins looks like DeAndre Hopkins again right before the trade deadline. Do you guys see he canceled a signing appearance in Tennessee?
Did he
He
really?
canceled it and rescheduled it for the day after the trade deadline, so it can easily be canceled again.
Oh my gosh. Oh
Good.
my gosh. Okay. Well,
I love that.
we're just going to push
Yeah.
back this date
Yeah.
and then we're going to cancel it for good because I don't know
God.
if I'm going to be in Nashville. That is crazy. But listen, weird things are going to happen during spooky season, especially when the NFL trade deadline is on Halloween. Okay, we're going to get to that game and many more on the other side. But first, if you're looking for a world-class dentist where all procedures are done in the same office with state-of-the-art technology, then look no further than my dentist, my doctor, Jordan Colby of Ocean View Dental. He can give you teeth in just a day plus a winning smile. Go to oceanviewdental.net. That's oceanviewdental.net. I've done this. Okay. I've had a calamity in terms of like teeth health over the past, say, 9 years, basically since my NFL career ended. I had a bunch of cracked molars. They got cavities. They got infected. They got root canaled. And I had to have one removed earlier, 2 more removed by Dr. Colby. And let me tell you the difference between having the first extraction by somebody else and then having Dr. Colby do the other 2 extractions, night and day. He also put in 3 implants. I have brand new teeth in my mouth. This just happened a week and a half ago at his office. It was almost pain-free. I've never experienced anything like it. I called him. Actually, the office called me, and then I asked for his number, his direct line. I called Dr. Colby. I'm like, how did you do this? Because I feel great. Am I allowed to just go back to work? He goes, yeah, don't worry about it. Just head in there tomorrow and smile for the cameras. That's exactly what I did. Got me in and out of there in the same day. Dr. Colby explained my procedure. He showed my digital picture of what the entire procedure entailed, and I felt 100% confident and comfortable. His motto is no matter your situation, he can help you create a confident and healthy smile. So if you're looking for a dentist, if you have major work, if you just have a couple of fillings, if you just want a teeth cleaning, trust the great services at Ocean View Dental. That's oceanviewdental.net. Okay, we continue to recap week 8 in the NFL coming up next. Okay, coming up, scary situations around the NFL. We'll get to all of them next. Oh man, we have so much to get to today. For example, coming up on the show today, your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Lainey Wilson at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. That's going to be August 23rd. So I understand you look at the calendar, you're like, why are we talking about something in August? Well, if you don't get those tickets now, you're not getting them.
And they just went on sale last Friday.
Yeah, yep. So get over to livenation.com. You get tickets and info there, or just keep listening for your chance to win. Also, we have a 4-pack of tickets to Snow Jam 2023 at the Del Mar Fairgrounds, November 10th to November 12th. This is an unforgettable event. Discover extensive collections of alpine skis, snowboards, boots, bindings, gloves, goggles, everything you need for a fantastic winter season. Competitive prices. It rivals all the online deals you're going to find. You'll find the best prices right here. But that's not all. Snow Jam San Diego is unbeatable value for your winter adventures. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Mark your calendars for November 10th and get ready for an amazing winter experience at Snow Jam San Diego. Every time we have a liner that long,
It's like a paragraph.
all of a sudden I get into DJ guy voice because I feel embarrassed.
That's because you've been going for so long.
You want to know what's crazy?
Snow Jam, Snow Jam, Snow Jam, Del Mar Fairgrounds.
Sunday.
That's the shorter version of the liner.
Get
No
the
way.
hell out of here.
Give us the log one for the next go round.
Well, okay, I will.
Yeah. Plug it in.
I mean, there's a lot more you can get. Entrance to all 3 days of the expo, free lift tickets to Bryan Head Resort in Southern Utah,
hold
free
on.
lift tickets to Mount Baldy in LA, half price tickets to Mountain High Resort,
Okay.
special icon.
Wait,
pass
No
deals.
joke.
Getting
though.
a full
Wait,
erection.
I was gonna
Stop
say,
it.
If you are looking to go skiing or snowboarding, Snow Jam hooks it up.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Have you been actually?
Yeah.
Have you really?
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, is it cool?
Well,
I'm
just for
such a
showing
good
up, you get a-
snowboarder.
Well,
A
I
few
was
free
gonna
lift
say,
tickets.
Yeah.
I've never skied before in my life. I've never snowboarded.
What?
I sense a video.
Okay.
You mean on the bunny slopes?
No, we're taking you straight to a double.
Let's
double
go
black.
to
Okay, I'm gonna die.
double. No,
That's
we're
how
not gonna go to
the-
a double black.
All of a sudden,
Just- Just go to a normal hill.
True story. First time I ever went snowboarding, I'd skied since I was young, and then my friends took me snowboarding in high school. they immediately took me up to like the toughest slope on the mountain, and I got stuck for 3 hours in like neck high powder.
Oh,
Couldn't move.
Good.
And they just kept laughing at me. I was like, help me.
That's what
Left
I
you
want
there.
to do. I want to go skiing on a double black diamond where I'm buried to my chest in snow for 3 hours.
We should take you. I got a snowboard.
No,
TD,
dude.
you got gear?
I actually have a snowboard.
It
yes.
does sound awesome.
Yeah.
It sounds actually. It doesn't
be
sound
there.
awesome. It looks awesome.
Can we wear what we're wearing right now?
1,000,000%. It's mandatory.
Can you imagine me just like in wooden alpine skis, like wearing this full cop uniform with this damn mustache on my face, just hauling ass down a hill?
Was it in your contract that you weren't allowed to?
I wasn't in my contract
Wait,
specifically.
iHeart contract?
No, NFL contract.
No, but if you get injured off the field, it can have a devastating impact on how much money you're able to earn.
Ask
So
Naheem Hines.
yeah, dude. Yeah, not just him. A lot of dudes have suffered off the field injuries.
And if you get injured on the field, could have a devastating impact to your team. Like we talked about Kirk Cousins, who just fell down with the torn Achilles.
Dude, that Achilles seems like such a fragile little piece of human equipment.
It's so big. Like when
we
you
should
look
remove
at
it.
the anatomy of the human body, like it's such a thick tendon, and that's the reason why when it snaps, it's like
visual. You could
yeah.
see the calf pop.
Yeah.
Like it happened with Kirk Cousins. That's why everyone on the internet was like, "Oh, that's a torn Achilles."
Yeah, think about like when you have one of those I don't know what you call them, but the pull and raise shades, on a window.
Oh, yeah.
Like where you just yank on it
That's
and then it goes
actually a perfect analogy.
like that's exactly what that tendon is. It is pressure locked to your heel. And then as soon as it goes, I mean, it's like the shade is just whipping around at the top of that little
There's
spindle.
like no rhyme or reason either. Like if you remember Kevin Durant's that he suffered was it in the NBA playoffs? Like where you could he just stepped and then you could see it pop. Aaron Rodgers, same thing. And now Kirk Cousins, he just stepped and it popped.
Well, this is what people don't realize. When you hear strain, like strained calf muscle or strained MCL, like any ligament or muscle strain, like what you're talking about is a tear. It's just to what grade the tear is. So many times you hear, oh, he's got a knee strain. Well, knee strain is he's torn his knee. It's either the ACL, the MCL, the PCL, the LCL. Something in that athlete's knee is torn. Now, it's considered a partial tear when you say strain, but it's torn. So you could have an Achilles strain. When you hear that, when that's lifted, you're in the danger zone, man, because at any point, any wrong step, any wrong torque on that Achilles can make it go like that.
So now describe to me again, the Achilles tendon goes from like the calf or all the way up?
So the bottom attachment to your calf, and then it wraps under your heel.
All the way down to your foot?
Yeah. So it's that really thick boy on the back of your ankle. And speaking of feet, gonna talk to you about my feet and the Good Feet store. I had no idea where you're going with this, Ben.
I was like, why does he care so much?
I really want to talk to you about Achilles. That was like, there are so many other injuries we could talk about. Tyrod Taylor's got ribs. Kenny Pickett hurt his ribs also.
Matt Stafford broke his thumb trying on an extra point.
So he hurt it earlier in the game, and they're like, we should throw it to again. I'll tell you what, I don't know if the Good Feet store can fix Matthew Stafford's thumb, but I can tell you this. It has fixed my back. I wake up every morning now and I feel a lot better getting out of bed, less joint pain overall. My knees were a problem. My ankles were a problem. But with the Good Feet store and their arch supports, I wake up feeling rejuvenated after a night's sleep instead of feeling like, oh gosh, this again. Like the back really was a struggle. You put these arch supports in your shoes after they test you out and have you do a free test walk, try before you buy situation over there at the Good Feet store. And when you walk out of there, you're going to feel a little goofy for a day, right? You got these new arch supports in your shoes, but you get used to them almost immediately. And then you realize, oh, this is what I've been missing. And you start walking around in these and you feel the joint pain dissipate. It almost feels like magic. It's not, it's science. It was all explained to me at one of their 200 plus locations across the United States and overseas. They've been doing this for 30 plus years. There's a lot of success stories like mine. So if you're in pain, especially that lower body joint pain that really slows you down in everything you do in life, go to the Good Feet store today. Okay, we got a Monday nighter ahead of us. Raiders in Detroit to face the Lions. And we also have game 3 of the World Series. We barely have talked baseball. What are you watching? We'll tell you what we're watching coming up next.
This update is presented by the Jim Betrell Real Estate Team. It's hour 2 on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. We'll start off in the NFL. Sunday Night Football. Chargers get a much-needed win over the Bears. Final score 30-13. Cowboys hammer the Rams 43-20. Eagles sneak past the Commanders 38-31. Bengals take down the Niners 31-17. And the Chiefs get embarrassed by TD's Broncos 24-9. Monday Night Football tonight between the Raiders and the Lions in Detroit. Kickoff 5:15. You're going to hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. World Series, we are all tied up at 1 game apiece. The series will travel back to Arizona for the next 3 games, first of which will go down tonight. First pitch, 5:03. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Betrell has the buyer. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
Yeah! Woo! Happy Monday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you this morning. We are in full costume attire ahead of Halloween,
Of course.
which is tomorrow.
Got to do a test run.
Yeah, got to do a test run. I showed up as a sexy cop. Travis showed up as a sexy footballer.
Hang on, there's nothing sexy about the cop. You got to undo some buttons.
Wait, what?
You got to...
Just the fact that he's got it on is sexy.
I know, but
cop.
in order to make it sexy cop, you got to undo some buttons.
And I was going to say, you showed up as a sexy 70s
Yeah.
bouncer.
I'm just trying, if you're going to call yourself that, undo some buttons, and TD, maybe lower the pants a little bit.
You know what I should do is stuff like Nick Bosa. Oh wait, no, we were told there's no way he's stuffing.
Yeah, Tati from Star 94.1 came in studio on Friday and she set the record straight. She also admitted something very odd. And I wouldn't feel comfortable talking about this unless she didn't bring it up on air during our.
Maybe we still don't.
Oh, no, I mean, no, hang on, because
I don't even know what the hell she's talking about.
I think we could all learn something from this, so I just want to do a quick review.
Okay,
so
quick review. Last Friday, Bar Cart Friday, brought to you by Keg and Bottle. 10 locations all throughout San Diego, 1 in Santa Barbara, 1 in Chicago. It's a beautiful thing.
Travis and I, TD was in the hallway and he saw Tati.
Mm-hmm.
She was walking into her studio with Jesse Lozano in the mornings over there at 94.1, right here in the iHeart San Diego cluster. We're all under one roof. And so he shouts down the hallway, "Hey, you commented on our Nick Bosa Instagram post about his dong." And she goes, "Yes." She was like, "My boyfriend doesn't stuff and neither does Nick Bosa." He's like, "Hey, do you want to come on the air and talk about it?" And she goes, "Yes, I will. I will come in."
She's like, "Just say when." And I said, "Anytime. Just open the door."
She literally kicked in the door and she walked in and she's like, "Yeah, not only does my husband," turns out it's not her boyfriend, "my husband has a giant hog, but also apparently at times." Wait,
it was just kind of brought up in passing where she was like, "Oh, no. In fact, I think my husband is bigger than that." And then she said, "And sometimes you have to like pull it backwards,
Okay,
like,
right.
like from behind." And we went, "What?"
I mean, just...
And then she said, "Don't you guys ever do that?"
Yeah, she was asking us like,
"What are you talking about?"
She was like, "Do you ever see the fruit basket?"
That's right.
And I was like, "What is?" Well, I was like, "Now I think I'm aware of this because it happened to me once when I was trying to cover my grill."
All right, Sunday Night Football.
I was
if
like,
you missed any of the podcasts, Big Rich, TD, Fletch on iHeartRadio.
Also, an update on Friday, we got a couple snack bins in the break room.
Yeah.
There's one that was filled to the rim with Cheez-Its and another that was filled to the rim with trail mix. And they probably hold a gallon of both.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. These are sizable snack bins.
They're empty.
Really?
They're done for.
So over the weekend, who comes in here in the weekend and eats all the trail mix?
The pooper.
Oh,
you think?
Yeah.
I
good
thought-
point.
Also,
was
J-Riff was going back and all the way, the entire show.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
for sure it was.
By the
Brent.
way, J-Riff's going to lose all the weight we lost. Since you put in snacks, I think he's the snacker.
Can we talk about TD after the show on Friday? Or maybe save that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we will get to that.
What happened after the show on
Oh,
Friday?
Yeah, you have no idea because of the amount of alcohol you drank.
I was fine. I was fine.
They wouldn't even allow you to operate power tools that you told them that you could use. They literally locked you
yeah.
in not our office and said, "Don't come out until you're sober."
I mean, I got some videos that I want to post
That's
of TD.
Tony's fault.
I was overserved. Yeah, so Monday Night Football.
He also gave my dog a Cheez-It.
Yeah. Oh, well, your dog.
Not
by the way,
cool.
Why is it that cool? Brock thought it was super cool.
First of all, Brock, it's great calcium, and he's a dear friend of Travis's. He's
right.
They've been through a lot together already.
I gave him, we had Cheez-Its that were for the ready. I gave him a Cheez-It, and then you freaked out.
Tell you what, wrong Brock got the Cheez-Its. You should have given it to Purdy.
Exactly.
I mean, that guy needs some calcium. He gonna need his milk.
No doubt. No doubt.
So Monday Night Football, we got Raiders heading out to face the Lions in Detroit. We covered this already.
Detroit.
It is Detroit.
I think it's Detroit.
Well, I mean, maybe it's one of those things that's been lost in time. I don't really want to do this again.
Me neither.
You could call it whatever you want, and I promise you, you're wrong. The
Detroit.
The Detroit Lions.
Favored by 7.5.
Yeah. So, look, here's the deal. This is either going to be one of those calamitous games for the Lions coming off of a crushing loss on the road to Baltimore, where they got their heads kicked in for 4 quarters, or it's going to be one of those, and this is more where I'm leaning. I don't know about you guys. It's going to be one of those games where they take out all of those negative emotions on the Raiders and absolutely beat the dog out of them.
Yeah, I'm not sure which way it would go, but I have a feeling I know which way it's going to go. I mean, to me, I feel like the Lions are going to come just roll over.
Pendulous nature of the NFL. Lions get embarrassed last week. Lions are going to do some embarrassing this week.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with that. The Lions just are a far better team, even though they just got the snot kicked out of them last week. To me, they rolled this thing. Also, yesterday was a weird day in the NFL. There was a lot of upsets. The pendulum swings back to normalcy tonight, and the Lions win.
Yeah, I just don't see how the Lions are going to lose that big to the Baltimore Ravens and then lose to the Raiders, who are a much worse team. Now, could it be a close game? Yeah, but I don't even prescribe it being all that close. Like, if I would take I would have the Lions covering the points tonight. Like if I was forced to. I don't really love betting Thursday night or Monday Night Football. I just don't love the spot. I think a lot of teams, especially in primetime, just play different. And I think we saw a perfect example of that a couple of times already this season on Monday night or Thursday night. But yeah, with this game in particular, an extra day's rest after a very physical game against the Ravens, where the Raiders are at right now, especially the fact that the Raiders could be sellers at the trade deadline. And I'm sure they don't want to get anybody hurt tonight that they're looking to sell at the trade deadline. These are two teams in completely different galaxies. It's very much going to look like what we saw, I believe, between Chicago and Los Angeles last night.
I think it's going to be pretty lopsided. In fact, I have the Lions in a couple different pick'em leagues this week, so I'm going to take Detroit and the points. Like, I think that they cover easily. What did Dan Campbell, TD, say after their loss last week? He's like, it's a feeling you never want to have ever again.
Yep.
And didn't he say, like, I promise we're not going to have this feeling again? Something along those lines.
Exactly. Yeah, something along those lines.
There's so much pride in the Lions organization that I feel like there is no chance in hell this is not going to be the most fired up we've ever seen this team, just knowing who Dan Campbell has been as a coach. And Jared Goff needs to bounce back as well. Like, the Baltimore defense embarrassed him. You know what the Raiders are not known for outside of Max Crosby? Their defense.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, the Raiders, they can give you problems though. And I think that defensive line doesn't get enough credit. It's Max Crosby anchoring that unit. I agree with you. He needs to be in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year.
He's so good.
He's just such a game wrecker. But and I'm blanking on his name, so it's shame on me. But the defensive end who plays across from him, he's just as productive. And a lot of that has to do with when you have a guy like Crosby, or if you're in the Bay Area with Nick Bosa or Myles Garrett. When you're playing opposite players like that who are constantly getting pressure, the game plan switches to pay more attention, to pay more mind to a Crosby. And so it avails more opportunities for other opportunistic pass rushers, which has been the case for the Raiders. But that's where the evening factor happens. Like when the Raiders step it up on defense, man, they can be dangerous. We've seen it before this season. So, yeah, I don't see it. I feel like Detroit rolls, but it's been a weird weekend, like you pointed out, TD. It's been a super weird weekend. All right, let's hit halftime, and then we'll get to some baseball on the other side.
Well, a game we haven't really focused on yet. The Dolphins, they take down the Patriots 31-17, and Tyreek Hill is making some history here. So he vowed before the season to be over 2,000 yards receiving by the end of the year. Well, he's already over 1,014 receiving yards so far this season. He becomes the first player in 62 years and the fourth player in NFL history with 1,000 receiving yards in his team's first 8 games of a season. Joining, tell me if you guys know these names. Charlie Hennigan, 1,122 receiving yards in 61.
Yeah.
Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch. You had his poster on your wall. I know that. And Don Hudson.
Yeah. It's,
they named a river after him.
Yeah. Oh,
New York Giants legend, Don Hudson.
Yeah. So Tyreek Hill, he now has 2,724 receiving yards in 25 games since joining Miami last season. He surpasses Odell Beckham Jr.
Love that money.
Who had 2,625 receiving yards with the New York Giants for the most receiving yards in a player's first 25 games with a team in the Super Bowl era. All that to say, next week, Aztecs basketball tips off their first official game. And that is what I am most excited about in this world right now.
What a bizarre. Look, I want to talk to you about Tyreek Hill for a full minute and then just very quickly shoehorn in tip off of the college basketball
Well, I had
season.
3 stories in my halftime, and I had to decide between World Series and Aztecs basketball for which one I thought was more important. And I went Aztecs basketball.
Well, the World Series has been contentious. So the
One
Rangers
game apiece.
won the first game in kind of heroic fashion. Adolis Garcia hits a home run to win it.
That dude has a crazy story. Danny Vietti on his Wake and Rake podcast broke down the whole thing. It has like 150,000 likes on TikTok. Good for Danny Vietti. But it's wild what he had to go through just to be allowed from his country to be able to play in the Major League Baseball.
Yeah, a lot of stories like that in baseball. The international flavor, especially where a lot of these players derive from. I mean, you're not talking about like hard luck situations like we see in the United States. Not to say that anybody in the United States who's struggling, obviously there are people who are humble beginnings from this country as well. But we're talking about third world countries. We're talking about places where they don't have like running water or electricity in certain cases. I don't know specifically what Garcia's situation was.
I can't remember his original country, but the only way for him to get back and to be allowed to play Major League Baseball was for him to go play professionally in Japan and then move in with a relative that was in the Dominican Republic and actually get legally adopted by him. And then he was allowed to defect from his former country and be allowed to play in Major League Baseball.
Jeez,
yeah, man, these are the stories that they just don't seem real.
No,
I mean, it happens a lot in sports. It's incredible some of the stories that come out of it.
But the Diamondbacks answered after his game in Game 2 on Saturday night with a 9-1 convincing victory in Texas.
Lacking.
So the series head to Chase Field tonight, Game 3 of the World Series. Like you mentioned, Fletch knotted up 1 apiece, and so in the most unlikely storyline in Major League Baseball, with the Diamondbacks not only making the postseason, but sweeping the Dodgers in the divisional series, taking down the Phillies, who are red hot, and their bats were just doing all the talking leading into the championship series. And now here against the Rangers, where at every turn, it's felt like, yeah, cute story, about to end. Oh, great job beating the Dodgers. Cute story, about to end. Okay, snuck into the World Series. Rangers are going to have their way with you. And here we are with a tied series heading to Chase Field, where, by the way, for the first time since they've hosted a postseason game, people are actually going to show up for this.
$415 for the worst seats in the house.
Yeah, I was just looking the same thing.
Now, don't get me wrong. There were a lot of people who were confused about a post that I put out on social media. Nobody really cares who's listening to our show this morning. But out in Arizona, there were a couple of people,
Oh, they got angry at you?
Yeah, who are a little bit pissed. They were like, no, that was a sold out game. I'm like, it was a sold out game that people are trying to sell tickets for. And
Correct.
This, by the way, was a Game 3 of the NLCS against the Philadelphia Phillies. An NLCS game People were trying to sell their tickets for $15 3 hours before first pitch. Tickets were on sale for $24 an hour before first pitch
It was
on the
also
secondary market.
It was also a day game, though, right? Wasn't that a 2:00 game?
I think so.
Yeah, it was kind of odd. But I mean, it's still the LCS.
But the question for you guys now, Rich, TD, what gets more viewership? A World Series game, a World Series game 3, or a Monday nighter between the Las Vegas Raiders and who the hell are they playing?
They're playing the
Detroit Lions.
There is no question about it.
Oh, it's not even going to be close.
I mean, it's not even these two things are not the same. Almost nobody cares about baseball outside of the Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth area market and Arizona right now. Almost nobody.
I'd be so curious to see the numbers out of those two markets also.
And listen,
well, it's also a game that is not deciding the World Series.
That's also true.
Yeah.
I mean, if you miss either a chunk of it or all of it, you're going to have a game 4. See, look, that's the problem with this has been my drumbeat talking about baseball forever. Baseball
or basketball.
Yeah, or basketball. It's just not urgent. Nobody really cares. Like, it is more consequential if the Raiders lose on Monday night or if somebody gets injured on Monday night, somebody who they want to trade on Monday night, than it is if like, honestly, if somebody hurts themselves, strains a hamstring in this game, in game 3 of the World Series. I mean, that's the truth. Like, the Detroit Lions, it feels like they have more to lose tonight going on a 2-game losing streak week 8 of the NFL season than either of these teams in the World Series have to lose tonight.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I mean, you talk about these series that are inconsequential. That's why people love March Madness. I mean,
exactly.
That's why they love it, man. It is one and done. You get one shot at this thing.
And no offense to college basketball fans, TD, because you nailed it. Like, Ben, I know you watch regular season college basketball. For me, outside of going to Viejas Arena or to a college basketball arena and watching a game live in person, it is, to me, it's hard to stomach because it's not always consequential. Like, you can have good losses in college basketball throughout the regular season. Like, you could get beat kind of bad and it would still be like, yeah, but they're going to be a highly ranked team in the tournament. So it's actually good that you lost.
Yeah, they'll move up a couple notches.
Yeah, like in the net rankings and stuff. So,
but it's not March Madness. And there's nothing like March Madness on this planet.
And that's my point. Like, when you have urgency like that, where it's single elimination, you play this game to your best of your ability, and if you lose, you're going home. That's when it's the best. And the NFL is the only regular season that even comes close to replicating that level of urgency.
Whoa.
What do we got? What's happening?
Wait, is it Heidi Klum and her Halloween party?
Yeah, we need to get to that.
Yeah. It's much more pressing than that.
Oh,
I see Rich's belly button.
What?
Oh, son of a!
Yeah, jeez. Wow, Rich elected for no undershirt under the cop
which,
costume.
By the way, is a mistake. This is mostly polyester, and my nipples are chafing. Yeah, I'm trying to move as little as possible, and it's not working. So,
how's it smell?
Hang on.
No, your belly button.
Oh, God.
Didn't we just go over that?
Yeah, perfect.
I'm telling you, he hits the hot spots.
You got to hit the hot spots. Armpits. Well, I can't say the second one. Armpits, beehole, crotch, and teeth. Okay, you must trust me.
And belly button.
Well, and yeah, of course.
Yeah,
and the button, man. That's the fifth hot spot.
You know that in Chesapeake, Virginia, until literally a couple years ago, they had a law on the books that if a teenager was caught trick-or-treating, they could go to jail for up to 6 months.
Where?
They deserve it.
In Virginia.
There's no way that's true.
Okay. Other towns have similar laws. Jacksonville, Illinois, Rayne, Louisiana, both bar kids who are 13 or older from trick-or-treating. By the way, in Chesapeake, Virginia, now they've removed the law. You don't go to jail, but if you get caught and you're over the age of 14 trick-or-treating, you're guilty of a misdemeanor.
Well, here's what I think. I think if you're a 14-year-old, you just borrow an 8-year-old.
Genius.
Dude,
genius.
Like, I'm chaperoning him. He begged me to put on a cop uniform.
Is there a limit? I mean, do you get mad if people are trick-or-treating and they're teenagers?
Dude, so I love Halloween I love holidays in general, but I love Halloween so much. We don't get trick-or-treaters. Every year I buy like the full-size Skittles bags, the full-size Starburst, but what do you call it? The Starburst, the rods.
You'd be so popular if you're handing out Starbucks.
Just gift cards.
So many moms.
I'm a barista. Every year, same thing. I just put on my mustache and I say things like, "Yeah, me too," and then I just make them Dolce Cabbanas or whatever they call them. I love a good coffee with a little bit of whiskey on a Halloween walk.
Hot toddy, baby.
Come on.
Yeah, just trick or treating. Maybe with I went back to Trader Joe's, by the way. They ran out of the pumpkin spice cream liqueur. Yeah.
God.
Nowhere to be found.
Did they say they're going to restock before Thanksgiving?
They actually, most of them had no idea what I was talking about. The one lady was like, "Oh, I didn't even know we had that. If I had, I would have bought some." I was like, "Oh, I guess I'll wait till next year."
Wow.
Listen, we got to run because we need to make room for head coach Brady Hoke back from his bye week. Did a little recruiting. Definitely got to film study on Utah State, who is the next opponent for the Aztecs. They're coming to Snapdragon Stadium this upcoming Saturday. The head coach of San Diego State joins us next. But first, the Good Feet store has been serving all of their customers 30 plus years in this country and overseas, 200 plus locations. If you're unfamiliar with the Good Feet store, it's very simple. You walk through their doors if you're suffering from any foot pain, ankle pain, knee pain, hip pain, back pain, if you've been worried about your posture having a bad effect on maybe future joint pain, you go into their store. They measure your feet. They balance test you. You do a quick walk. They size and fit these arch supports to your personal needs, your lifestyle, your profession, and then you just wear them in your shoes. That's it. That's all you have to do. They'll do the rest of the work. They'll even call you a week later to make sure they're fitting. And then what you're going to find out is all that joint pain I was talking about, all the poor posture, it's just going to disappear. I had no idea how important it was to have your arches supported the right way until I went to the Good Feet store, and I've been walking around pain-free for a long time now. If you're like me and you've suffered with lower body joint pain and you want to get right, get to the Good Feet store today. They have a bunch of locations, like I said. Went to the Mission Valley one myself. Goodfeet.com if you need more information. The head coach of San Diego State football joins us next.
Let's talk some Aztecs football with Coach Brady Hoke next.
This update is presented by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Starting off in the NFL, Sunday Night Football, the Chargers get a much-needed win over the Bears. Final score 30-13. Cowboys hammer the Rams 43-20. Eagles sneak past the Commanders 38-31. Bengals beat the Niners 31-17. And the Chiefs get absolutely embarrassed by the Broncos 24-9. Monday Night Football tonight. It's between the Raiders and the Lions in Detroit. Kickoff 5:15. You're going to hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. World Series, we're all tied up at one game apiece. The series will travel to Arizona for the next 3 games, first of which goes down tonight. First pitch at 5:03. And in college football, San Diego State had their second bye week of the year. Over the weekend, they return home this Saturday to take on Utah State. Kickoff scheduled for 4 p.m. Tickets and info at goaztecs.com. The head coach of the Aztecs, Brady Hoke, will join the show coming up next. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
Big Rich, Sheedy, and Fletch at San Diego Sports 760, and you can win a 4-pack of tickets to go to Snow Jam 2023 at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. It's happening November 10th through the 12th for an unforgettable event. Discover their extensive collection of alpine skis, snowboards, boots, bindings, gloves, goggles, and everything else you need for a fantastic winter season. Also have a pair of Lainey Wilson tickets. Whew. I thought I was going to screw up the name there. I need to double check. Yeah, Lainey Wilson, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. That's happening August 23rd. You can get over to livenation.com for tickets and info, or just keep listening for your chance to win because it's going to be coming up very, very shortly. It is Monday. Aztecs have been on a bye, but let's do this right here.
We're getting the latest Aztecs news from the man in charge. This is the Brady Hoke Report, driven by the San Diego Toyota dealers. If you're looking for a great deal on a new Toyota, make sure to visit Toyota.com. There you can check out all the latest offers and search inventory. We make it easy.
Yeah, every single Monday we talk to the man, the myth, the legend, Coach Brady Hoke. And Coach, you were on a bye. You got a week off. You were working on some things. How you feeling, man?
Well, I thought we utilized the week off really positively from practice standpoint, doing some recruiting and getting out on the road and going to some high school games and those kind of things. So, the one thing about our guys in this team, they've come out and they've worked hard every time we've taken the practice field, what they're doing in the weight room. I was just down there watching the second group of the morning lifts. So, they've got a great attitude, and we just got to go out there and execute the way we're capable.
Coach, last time you were coming off a bye, you were headed to the islands of Hawaii. Obviously, this time heading back to San Diego. But when you came off the bye last time, a couple stars were born, and Lucky Sutton and Deshaun McEwen, one on the offense, one on the defense. Coming out of this bye week, you got any names we can keep an eye on for this weekend?
Well, you know what? We're just trying to get every guy better, and we're have some competition that I think is always healthy. From multiple positions. From the wide receivers, the O-line. Obviously, we're trying to always field the best 11 out there on the field. So then I think there will be some guys that have hopefully you'll hear of a little bit more because of some improvements we've made. As far as how we're playing football.
Yeah, Coach, and coming off of a bye week, I mean, is any of the time used for a little relaxation, or was it just nose to the grindstone the whole time?
Yeah, there's, during a bye, the one day I would look forward to is Saturday. And the Saturday, my wife and daughter both are football junkies, obviously. And so you get to spend some time, watch a couple games with them. But when I'm doing that, I always have a legal pad next to me because there's always something that you can learn and something that you can make yourself better. And I've been doing this a long time, and that's one of the things, though, that I've always tried to do is take advantage of, what you're watching, but self-assess and keep improving.
I was watching the San Jose State game, or I should say some of the San Jose State, the most recent matchup for Utah State, which is the future opponent here, Coach. And it's kind of like a good news, bad news situation. I'm curious your thoughts. San Jose State, the Spartans, 42-21 victory there. So Utah State, they're a little down, and obviously, they're handed a loss, and we know football, anything can happen, but this could be a good get-right game for your crew. But then you got to go on the road and face San Jose State here in short order, and they're looking pretty good all of a sudden offensively. So good news, bad news? Are you on the same page?
Well, I obviously was watching that game also. I think, I thought San Jose really throughout the year has put some points on the board, and I think they started fast in most of their games, and then at the same time, they've got a good squad, but Rich, I can only take one at a time, and that's Utah State.
Well, let's get a preview on Utah State, Coach. What are you seeing on film that your offense is going to have to take advantage of, or on the defensive side of the football? Same question.
Yeah, well, I think you look at their skilled people. I think they're very good offensively, and the skilled people. I think their offensive line, with what they do, has done a really good job. As far as the running game goes, and they've got two quarterbacks. I think both of them are very capable. Both of them have played a lot of football. So, as far as the offense, that part of it, and defensively, I think they're really good up front. I think when you look at their defensive line, they're especially their ends, I think they're very athletic, and they're very good at what they do.
When you go on later, and I know you will on YouTube, and you'll watch the replay of our live stream here, I just want to let you know while you're speaking to us, we're all in Halloween costumes. Fletch is wearing a 70s outlet with a golden sequin shirt.
God, it looks good.
I'm a police officer. Mm-hmm. Travis Kelsey. Are you dressed in a Halloween costume right now? Is there any chance of that?
Well, Yeah, Rich, I don't want to surprise you, but I am not.
Okay. You know what?
I'm surprised.
It's weird because it's not Halloween.
Yeah, everybody knows that, Coach. You spend the day before Halloween testing out your Halloween costume. Anyways, we're idiots. Thank you for spending time with us, even though I know you don't want to every single Monday. Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you guys, and Rich, I'll see you soon.
You got it, buddy. I'll see you over on campus. There he goes, Brady Hoke, head coach of your San Diego State Aztecs, and that is the Brady Hoke Report, driven by your San Diego County Toyota dealers. If you're looking for a great deal on a new Toyota, make sure to visit Toyota.com. There you can check out all the latest offers and search inventory. We make it easy. Okay. Coming up, we still have tickets to give away. We got those Lainey Wilson tickets.
Yeah,
your
we do.
chance to win a pair for an August show coming up next year. Also, Snow Jam tickets, a 4-pack for Snow Jam over at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. That's coming up very soon in November. So we're going to have all that for you. But Ben, I got to tell you, if there's one thing that's been happening to me more often than people commenting on my weight loss over the past 7 weeks, it's been people commenting on Ben's weight loss. The magical vanishing man sitting on the other side of the glass from us. There is
doing a little shimmy right now. He's like, yeah, I'm feeling good.
there is no way Ben would have fit into that Halloween
Oh, hell
costume
No.
when we started all
because
this.
that's like a schmedium.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's a loose fitting medium on him. Like that,
Wait,
look
does that
at him.
even have buttons?
There's no chance that has buttons.
Oh, it has buttons.
Okay. All right. Well, I
We
can't
just don't
see
use
any.
them.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I would not have fit in this. I would have been bursting out of it, or I would have had to do that thing that like fat guys do, you know, where you wear an undershirt and then don't button the shirt.
You mean Skims?
Wait. Yeah, that's what fat guys do.
Yeah.
That's what TD does it like every day.
Right.
More.
I know, not anymore. You know why? Because we called sdfatloss.com. We called 858-665-3211. You can also head over to their website, sdfatloss.com. Get in touch with Wayne and Chloe. Once you talk to them, everything becomes much more clear. You will start losing the weight like crazy. And something that happened to me over the weekend, which was a really nice compliment, my wife looked over to me and said, you know what stopped? You snoring.
Interesting.
So
Wow.
me losing all this weight has taken me from like sawing logs every night to nothing. I sleep like a peaceful little angel.
Dude, buddy, and like that's serious because like sleep apnea, snoring, I mean,
Right.
they say like there's some ridiculous percentage of people who snore and have heart conditions.
My heart used to stop once a night at least, I'm sure,
Wow.
because of how badly I
Good
snore.
God.
You know, it's a fun little stat. I'm glad we brought it up this
So
morning.
I'm sleeping better. My wife is sleeping better. The dog is sleeping better. In fact, the loudest snorer in the house is now the dog who sleeps.
We need
right
to get
next
him on SD
Yeah,
Fat
I know.
Loss.
SDFatLoss.com, 858-665-3211. We joke a lot, but if you're serious about wanting to start your health journey today, if you want to do a journey with 3 idiots, get on over to SDFatLoss.com. Talk to Wayne, talk to Chloe. They will hook you up and get you started losing some weight.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, coming up next. The Broncos did something that never ends well. See the Padres 2023 season. We'll explain coming up next. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you this morning. If you're listening to us on the iHeartRadio app, keep doing it. We appreciate it. It's the best way to listen to the show. Trust us. Also, it's the best way to share the show. If you love the show, if you love listening to the show, you can help us out a great deal by just sharing a link. Just send it to somebody else who you know would like it. We do appreciate that. Also, coming up on the show today, we got those Lainey Wilson tickets. She's coming to San Diego in August of next year. Those tickets on sale now at livenation.com. If you're interested in going, you got to keep listening. Also, this segment, we got a big giveaway.
Yeah. And should we give a time for our app listeners?
Yeah, we're going to hand out that time in about 2 minutes. So just stick around for just about 2 minutes. And we're going to tell you exactly when to call for those 4-pack of Snow Jam at Del Mar Fairgrounds. The 4-pack of tickets is going to get you entry. And then obviously they have great giveaways and things that you're going to experience while you're there. That's November 10th through the 12th over at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. We'll have the time to call in just a second here. But yeah, did you see what happened in Denver after the win over the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Not good. Did you see this, Ben?
I don't know what you're talking about.
This is crazy.
Okay, so there's a link there in the grid this is what happened after the Broncos beat the Chiefs at the game here as the stands were clearing out, but the Broncos thought, hey, you know what would be a good idea? Let's do this. Yeah, they thought, you know what the Chiefs would like to walk out to? Taylor Swift.
Whoopsie doodle.
That's genius.
Okay, is it genius or is it bad form?
Because here's the problem. Everybody knows what happened to the San Diego Padres this year, right?
God.
Not a great record against the Dodgers. During the first series in a win, they played the crying Kershaw meme on the scoreboard.
Right.
And it basically cursed them the rest of the way.
They never recovered.
But the Broncos aren't really expecting to win any more games. Like, this was their Super Bowl, right?
Well,
so they beat the Chiefs the first time in 16 tries that they beat the Chiefs. The first time since, was it Peyton Manning was the Broncos quarterback that they beat the Chiefs?
That's right.
So if you're going to take a victory lap on one
makes
team,
it worse.
It's this one. You can lose every other game for the rest of the season, and you will fondly remember this game.
I don't know. What I will say that is this: you won't play them quite as often as the Padres had to play the Dodgers.
That is true.
That's the second time you've played them this year, so you're not going to face them again this season unless somehow, and I don't think it's going to happen, you end up in the playoffs with the Chiefs.
No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
so there's no issues here. This is funny, dude. NFL teams trolling Taylor Swift should be the next step.
Yeah, but the last time that a team trolled the Chiefs, they ran a ring around the rosy play.
The Chiefs are probably going to win the Super Bowl anyways. You might as well take your shots when you get them.
Here's the problem. I mean, honestly, that nobody's talking about is that in one of his 12 bathrooms at his mansion, Russell Wilson's going to have a Swiftie jump out and stab him.
That is true.
I mean, this fan base, like we talk about NFL fan bases, like all these crazy, drunk maniacs fighting each other in the stands. Have you ever seen Swifties?
They're way crazy.
That is true.
Oh my God.
Very true.
I had no idea until some of these videos have gone viral. I can't believe you would say that in our ears. Just trying to complete a sentence.
You're welcome.
It was, it's ridiculous. Anybody who attacks their queen, hell hath a name, and it is Swiftie.
That is
correct.
correct.
Swifties, come and get it. She's not that good of a singer.
Oh my gosh.
What?
That was Ben Fletcher.
Yeah,
that was not.
Yeah, not TD, not Rich. Yeah, Fletch. Send all mail to Fletch.
Yeah. And that's his address too. It's Fletch, and then right underneath it, the address line is Fletch as well. Trust me, the USPS, they know where to send it.
Yeah, well, Swifties know. All they have to do is go Fletch straight to hell. Jeez. Where it's headed.
So listen, if you are interested in those Snow Jam tickets, you got to call at exactly 7:56.
Okay.
7:56 if you want to win a 4-pack of tickets to Snow Jam. That's going to be happening November 10th through the 12th over at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. If you've never been, you need to get out there. Okay. So more information available online, but they got alpine skis, snowboards, boots, bindings, gloves, goggles, everything you need for a fantastic winter season and so much more. Get to Snow Jam San Diego, November 10th through 12th over at Del Mar.
Speaking of snow, Carolyn Blocka, Queen of the North.
Yeah.
Our resident Canadian says, love the costume, guys, but I feel like Rich is about to show up at a bachelorette party. Have you thought about a side gig, Mr. Ornberger?
All of these seams are Velcro just in case. And listen, I actually at one point in my life moonlighted as a stripper. Look, was it a dark time in my life? Yeah. But did I make dear friends with many people? Of course I did.
Yeah. Good.
Was the ring? Never mind. Gus on YouTube says, bigger trader, Travis Dale or Jim Russell?
Look.
Well, TD is wearing a
By the way,
literal Kansas City Chiefs jersey.
Yeah.
Jim
Based
Russell on Twitter already saying they need to move on from Brock Purdy.
Based on my my last name, by the way, before we move on, my stage name was the Big O.
Good.
What were you saying?
Who's the bigger trader, TD or Jim Russell?
Look,
Jim the Eagles fan, TD the Chiefs fan.
I had to do it for a costume, Gus.
You don't have to keep wearing it.
Well,
hold on, though.
We were told
Wait, yeah.
specifically today was a costume party that apparently nobody else in the building is dressed up for. We are the only maniacs in full regalia this morning.
Correct.
You know what's crazy about that is not only are people not dressed up in costume this morning, but they're also viscerally angry at me when I walk past them.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid everyone due to that information.
Why are you dressed up? I keep getting verbally accosted for wearing a costume.
Jeez, it's rough. It's rough. Anyways, I do believe it jinxed the Chiefs, so now I feel like I just need to wear it every day of my life.
I think it's I'll tell you what. I think it's a good thing. I honestly do. I think you look good in red. I think you look good in gold. And you know me, I'm back in the blue over here. There's no question about it. It's a thin blue line. I'm defending it with my
Hair
shield
is so overrated.
and my baton. Yeah, dude, you're normally bald. You
Would
look
way rather be bald.
Now you look like
I just got out of bed. Huh?
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, now you're a little Russell Brandy.
Yeah.
Oi!
Well, except
Yeah,
that's
but he's
not a good thing right now.
Not anymore.
Politics. America sucks.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which was Barry Gibbs was he English?
No, I think he's American.
He is?
Yeah. Actually, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Just
I don't know what he is, but he's staying alive.
By the way, we have chances for you to win $1,000 every day. So you're going to listen for a keyword. Then you're going to enter it at sportssd.com. All that's presented by Loan Pronto. Stop paying insane rates on your credit cards. Loan Pronto can help you tap into the equity of your home so you can be credit card and debt free in less than a week. LoanPronto.com for more details. LoanPronto.com. You know
got
what?
so much more coming up.
Yeah, we do. We got about 17 seconds before these phone lines open up, and you got to be caller number
17.
Why?
Sorry.
44570-1360. Caller number 17. You're going to get these Snow Jam tickets. Coming up next, more things. Oh, also the best Halloween party ever. We'll explain.
Yeah.
Hour number 3, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This update presented by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Starting off in the NFL, Sunday Night Football. Chargers get a much-needed win over the Bears. Final score 30-13. Cowboys absolutely destroy the Rams 43-20. Eagles sneak past the Commanders 38-31. Bengals, beat the Niners 31-17. And the Chiefs get embarrassed by TD's Broncos 24-9 final score. Monday Night Football is tonight between the Raiders and the Lions in Detroit. Kickoff at 5:15. You're going to hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. And in the World Series, all tied up, one game apiece. The series will travel to Arizona for the next 3 games, the first of which goes down tonight. And the first pitch is at 5:03. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
Yeah! Woo! Happy Monday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you on the eve of All Hallows Eve. It is the day before Halloween, which is a fun day, although it definitely takes a little bit of the luster off when it's midweek, right? You know, you got a Tuesday Halloween, a little strange trick-or-treating when it's not near a weekend.
Yeah, but that happens more often than not, right?
I guess, yeah,
God,
5 out of every 7.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. Anyways, look, the point is we are in full costume. So if you're streaming us on YouTube, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch is where you find us there. Or you follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Big Rich, TD, Fletch is how you find us there. You're going to see us in costume at some point. There's no question about that. We try our hardest to put out at very least one shareable clip from the show every single day. And the clip will be of Ben in a 70s, I don't know what we call it, I guess a disco goer.
Yeah,
Who's the
right.
dude?
Yeah.
Oh,
Barry Gibbs.
Barry Gibbs.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's my costume.
Ben's Barry Gibbs.
Yeah, well, you took the hair off and went back to the hat.
It was getting in my mouth.
Oh, yeah,
That's what happened.
I don't know how people walk around with hair all the time. You should just be bald. It's so much easier.
It's a lot easier.
And I go bald by choice, not by necessity.
I wouldn't have hair even if I could have hair. And I've said that since I was a very young child.
I started going bald at 19 years old, man. Who does that even happen to? Me.
Well, yeah. Well,
you
you know what they do say is those with higher testosterone often lose their hair. So
Yeah,
They do say that.
You know me, all raging testy.
and there he is. It's actually
Rich, you should change your Twitter handle.
our show was almost Big Rich TD and the Raging Testy. But we you know what we focus grouped it. They were just like the Raging Testy is the only hang up we have. TD is dressed as Travis Kelce.
So he's TK for the day.
Okay, also very confusing. So we had this Halloween party that we went to over the weekend. That's where we first got dressed up. And people would come out, they'd be like, "Hey, Travis." And I'm like, "Oh my God, there are so many people that recognize me." And then I was like, "Oh, wait. Travis Kelce."
Right.
Yeah,
right,
that's
right.
same name.
Travis!
Yeah. Honestly, I'm like, this is insane.
Dude, we went to this Halloween party. We all went to Halloween parties. Ben went to one over at Viejas, right?
Yeah, it's casino.
Viejas Casino. A lot of fun over there. Travis and I, TD and I, we went to the rooftop bar in Oceanside, Mission Pacific Hotel. They hooked us up with some rooms. A lot of fun staying there. It was very cool. I was treated like a cop stripper. I was treated like less of a cop and more of a cop stripper.
A lot of people grab your billy club.
Dude, the baton was handled. Let's put it that way.
And I was there to witness it on several occasions.
There was a lot of very aggressive women poolside at this rooftop bar.
Which was very odd because they wouldn't even say anything. They would just walk up and like manhandle.
Just hammered drunk, taking things off of my belt, which, by the way, never do to an officer of the law. And, I would create, defensible distance, but then they would break through barriers And oftentimes, I mean, I can't tell you how many goes for like the belt, like or the general crotchal region were made. It was an uncomfortable situation. I'm never dressing up like a cop again.
What a lie!
Yeah.
You're gonna do this on like a Tuesday now.
I'm never taking this
You're
costume
just gonna
off.
walk downtown wearing your cop outfit,
As it
so
turns-
all the ladies can come up to you.
You ever see those stolen valor videos where people dress up as military members
Oh yeah,
to like
dude.
get free stuff? Imagine
I
that's
love
what-
it when those people just get the swift knee of justice from whoever the guy is
Mhm.
catching them.
Yeah, on
Mhm.
camera, and they're
Yeah.
always like, "Yeah, what's your rank?"
It's so weird. Those stripes are actually reserved for
X, Y, or Z, or
Yeah.
your different military branch, and then they get outed in front. They're just horribly mortified, when they have to admit, like, yeah, well, I was in a different battalion. Like they start trying to lie.
No, you're a liar who wanted to get in the first round of airplane like seating.
Well, that's what's going to happen with me. I'm going to start walking around as a
Good.
cop all the time, and eventually something will be like, "That's not even close to the blue we wear. Like you are clear. And why are you driving around in a Toyota 4Runner?"
You think you have any police officers listening to the show? Can they listen to radio while they're like out on
yeah.
patrol?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you talking about?
In
Of
fact, I would
course.
say the majority of our listeners. I'm going to put a turn light on top of the 4Runner, and I'm not even going to have like a siren. I'm just going to lower my window and go whip 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 whip.
Good idea. It's a good idea. You know who else should put a siren on top of their car? I don't know why I'm trying to figure out a way to tease this. I have no idea.
What?
I don't know. The Titans. Yeah, who knows?
Woo, woo, we have a quarterback. Woo,
Yeah,
woo.
exactly correct. We didn't get into it much here at the start of the show, but Will Levis, my God, he looked good. Also, they should go back to the Oilers' old
So
unis.
sick. Okay, those uniforms and the Seahawks uniforms. I'm like, these are better than what you wear on a week in, week out basis.
I agree with you. So there were so many people who were upset about the Tennessee Titans wearing the old Houston Oilers jerseys. And I was
Why?
like, whoa, time out. Like they were the Tennessee Oilers for 2 seasons before they switched their name to the Titans.
Right.
But why would people be upset about that at all?
Well,
That's literally their lineage.
so their argument is they should be able to, or excuse me, the Houston Texans should be able to use those throwbacks because that's their franchise.
Well, that's the dumbest, most
Oh.
ignorant thing I've ever heard. The Tennessee Titans come from the Houston Oilers.
Wait, that's the dumbest?
one of them.
Okay. All right.
We say a lot of dumb stuff on this show.
Yeah, today.
I will say this, like the argument I'll make, I get the argument, I get the idea. Like, so for example, say there are a lot of people who love the Chargers here in San Diego, and we got a new team if the NFL expands, right? So instead of 32 teams, all of a sudden there's 34, one added to the NFC, one added to the AFC, and boom, we have a new team here. Are there going to be anybody who wants like to be able to wear the powder blue Chargers uniforms when it's now the San Diego, I don't know, the San Diego Seals?
Great point.
Yeah, I don't think personally, I wouldn't want them.
Right. Exactly right.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to, like, to me,
that's the old.
well, yeah. And also, like, it's kind of,
But it would be a different franchise. So what you're saying would be if the Los Angeles Chargers then went and changed their name, but stuck with the same ownership group, stuck with the same everything, just became the Los Angeles something else, and then did a throwback Los Angeles Chargers jersey.
Yeah, so say they change their name to the LA Bolts, right? The completely rebrand, but their throwbacks still should be the Chargers jerseys. Like I don't that's their franchise. Dean Spanos, it's like, for example, like if McDonald's moved a franchise out of San Diego or out of Houston and landed somewhere else, what, they got to leave the golden arches behind? Like, it just doesn't make any damn sense to me whatsoever. But there are people in Houston who are like, those are our jerseys.
Speaking of, Sheena from Jack in the Box, she came in to join us on a Bar Card Friday.
Yeah,
She's the president of Jack in the Box.
And No Job Joe, don't forget him.
Yeah, No Job Joe. Now, if you guys are listening,
I like to call her the chancellor of J and the B.
that's good.
She is
So,
the
Chancellor Sheena.
that's right.
Along with her assistant sidekick Joe.
Check this out. Okay.
I
So,
like to call him manservant.
when she was here, she
Joe.
said, hey, the potato wedges, the loaded potato wedges are back.
Yep.
Okay. And I was like, this is exciting news. We went to Jack in the Box. I enjoyed the loaded potato wedges.
Go on.
Okay. I got Caleb in the car over the weekend and he's like, I don't know, I want something. And I'm like, you want some potato wedges from Jack in the Box? And he's like, I've never had them. And I'm like, you better buckle up, pal.
Yeah.
So we roll into Jack in the Box. I order the potato wedges, which are on the digital menu still. And they tell me, hey, those are discontinued.
They took them away from
I'm
us?
like, wait, they were only out for like a month?
Wait, hang on. How did we get here?
You mentioned McDonald's.
Okay.
That made me think Jack in the Box.
I will
I
say
went to
I'm not
Sheena,
mad about
and
it.
I'm hoping that Sheena's listening so she can reach out and help in this situation.
so during this ST fat loss thing that we've been doing,
Yes.
I have a quick admission to make.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So I've been good.
Yeah.
You know me, I've lost a ton of weight, 35 plus pounds at this point.
News.
Okay.
But there was a weak moment. I was driving on Garnett Avenue in Pacific Beach, and on the left-hand side, when you're heading westbound on Garnett,
Yeah.
You son of
heading westbound on Garnett, 10-4. I was driving my cruiser, which is actually a 4Runner with a turn light. And all of a sudden I spotted it, the red building. I mean, Jack right there, just right in the logo. He's got his pointed hat on, his pointed nose.
Narc, I hope you're listening.
What?
Tell Chloe.
on.
I pull into the parking lot, and I had like one of those. I'm gonna speak to Jesus for a second.
Okay.
Moments like
All right.
I'm just like I just wanted to like I'm not gonna go off the rails if I just have one breakfast sandwich.
You had the breakfast sandwich?
So I drove through, dude. If there's one thing I love than anything in this on a biscuit and a Jack in the Box, the Jack sauce, like the secret sauce, I think they call it mystery sauce.
Yeah.
The good.
Good,
Oh,
the good,
God,
good.
the spicy good.
Spicy good.
I mean,
You had
I'm
the
not kidding.
breakfast sandwich
I
with the spicy good good?
slathered this breakfast sandwich with
Oh,
the spicy
God.
good, and I ate it. I wish I enjoyed it more. Actually, it was so hot, and I scarfed it down like it had the cure, and I was diseased. I was so happy in that moment. It was a really special time, guys.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, huge thanks to Sheena, the Chancellor of J in the B.
And Will Levis threw 4 touchdowns.
He certainly
He
did.
certainly, yes, he did. 19
is
for
how this
29,
started.
238 yards.
How did we get there?
Good God.
Yeah, dude.
CD's fault.
Yeah, well, it
Um,
happens.
it was,
I feel like that's normal for
It was
me.
the best day of my life. It was really good.
Watching Will Levis?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about for sure.
I'm really curious what the Titans actually do here because the trade deadline is tomorrow at 1 o'clock our time, I think.
But just to put a bow on the Jack in the Box thing,
Oh my
just real
God.
quick. So we went to Jack in the Box and they said it's discontinued. I was like, you guys are liars. I left the Jack in the Box drive-through. Well, I had to wait there for the other cars to go through. I left and went to a different Jack in the
and they said they also don't have it.
Box. They did, yes.
You are my favorite person.
Okay, go on, Will Levis.
Well, they got a couple options here. So Ryan Tannehill is still there. He's been injured with that. Is it the ankle for a few weeks now? But he's a piece that could be traded. He'll be back this season. And then also Malik Willis, who, if you guys saw, came in for like 2 plays yesterday and immediately fumbled on one of them. On the other one, I think threw an
Yeah.
interception.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad for Malik Willis, but he was a high round draft pick 2 years ago. So you have these 3 options here. And if you're going to stick with Will Levis, if that's going to be your guy moving forward, I think he's done enough in that one game to show that he's at least worth a shot here for the rest of the season.
Since the merger in 1970, there's only one person who's thrown 4 touchdown passes in his first game.
I know.
Who is it?
Marcus Mariota.
Yep. And he did it for the Titans. So Mariota eventually replaced Tannehill, who was on the sideline Sunday's game. Same thing with Will Levis. I mean, like, it's sort of been that kind of career for Tannehill. Here's the deal. Tannehill he's a game manager plus. Like, there are times where he plays and you're like, oh yeah, wow, there is something special to him. But all he's ever been for the Tennessee Titans is a guy who can deliver the football when he has big shots available on play action passes and not screw up. He's been doing too much of that. He's also been fragile lately. So they need a replacement at quarterback, and they saw it coming. That's the reason why they drafted Malik Willis in the second round 2 years ago. That's the reason why they got Will Levis this offseason. This was a star-making debut for a quarterback. That's the number 3 defense in the league. A lot of people aren't paying attention to the Atlanta Falcons. I don't blame you, because they're a mess at quarterback, and it's not a fun brand of football. They ugly up games and try to win that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it, but that is a dominant defense, and Will Levis just diced them up with DeAndre Hopkins, where he's somehow kindled this relationship with. They look like they've been playing together for years.
It was pretty awesome to see what he could do, especially on some of the deep passes where you heard about it through the whole draft process that he probably had the biggest arm in terms of distance and stuff. But Will Levis showed it, man. It was just drop back, throw it as far as you can, hope DeAndre Hopkins catches it. And D-Hop showed that he is a piece that could be very valuable for a team here in the a Super Bowl stretch. So who knows if he's the one that gets traded. That name's certainly been flying around. Derrick Henry's name is no longer flying around after it was last week. But the Titans have some pretty serious decisions to make. And number one decision they have to make is this going to be our franchise quarterback? And do we need to start building around him? Or do we still need to ship pieces off here in the next 24 hours?
Ship.
That's what I said.
Ship. There's a P in that.
That's what I said.
I know. Yeah, definitely. That's definitely what you said.
I heard it too.
I was like, oh!
He's got to do what?
Ship pieces.
Shipping off.
That's right. Of the rookie quarterbacks, though, I mean, CJ Stroud has looked insane. I've been very excited about him, but
Did he get hurt yesterday?
I don't know if he got hurt. Well, Bryce Young won. That was a much needed win for Frank Reich and the Carolina Panthers because holy smokes. I mean, winless through 6 games is one thing. Then if they would have lost to the second overall pick when you have the first overall pick on your side, that's even worse.
Right.
So it was a close game. Again, you want to talk about an ugly battle in the NFC South. That was about as ugly as they get. But the Houston Texans fall to the Carolina Panthers 15-13. And Bryce Young statistically outdueled CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud has looked miles better than Bryce Young throughout the early portion of this season.
He did not get hurt, by the way. He just kind of sucked yesterday. I had CJ on one of my fantasy teams, and it was the lowest output he's ever put up. And I thought the only way that would have happened is that he was injured in the game.
Yeah, he wasn't able to get anything done until the second quarter. They had that nice 17-play, 92-yard drive that finished with a touchdown. It was the fullback who scored on that. I remember watching that play.
And to your point, Bryce Young made some big boy throws yesterday for the first time really in his career to people other than Adam Thielen, right? Because that's kind of been his one connection so far. But there's articles being written in Carolina this morning that hang on, maybe we were wrong.
D'Amico Ryans was dialing up some serious pressure too.
He's good. I like D'Amico.
As a head coach, defensive coordinator, former defensive coordinator with the 49ers, I mean, they were throwing everything in the kitchen sink at Bryce Young. He handled the pressure. He was moving well, stayed on his feet pretty good. He found a couple of targets with what was it? Tommy Tremble was one of the touchdown receptions. It might have been the only touchdown reception of the day, but survival out there for Carolina. I'm very curious what they do. Will they move Adam Thielen at the trade deadline? I mean, there are other names, but that's the one that comes to mind as somebody who maybe you could get something for, send it off to a contender.
My biggest question with the trade deadline 24 hours away is 2 teams. What do the Chiefs do? What do the 49ers do? They both clearly need help on the offensive side of the football. They both have enough space to make something happen. The Niners have a lot more space than the Chiefs do, but you got to think an Adam Thielen makes sense with the Chiefs. He really does. So if that's going to be a move they make, sure. DeAndre Hopkins seems like he should be going to the 49ers, who clearly need help. What are these names and who are those 2 teams who are both Super Bowl contenders going to go after, and what part of their game do they try to help?
Yeah, I mean, it's not sexy, but there's also you need help on the defensive side too. Depth always helps, and I think if
Niners corners have been getting toasted this year.
Yeah, they've especially when they've needed the defense to really step up for them. They
get pressure up the middle, but the secondary is kind of in shambles.
Yeah, it's been bad.
I don't like it.
Yeah, so I mean, you could see trade pieces on the move on the defensive side of the ball too. I know we don't focus on that a lot, but that's also a place where the Niners need help. The Philadelphia Eagles need help.
Commanders talking about moving Montez Sweat and Chase Young. Josh Sweat. What's his name?
Montez Sweat.
Keith Sweat.
But could you imagine Chase Young and Montez Sweat? That's the Commanders' whole defense is those 2 guys. And they're talking about moving both of them.
Dude, I mean, and the Commanders, at least from what I've seen from Sam Howell, that's a gutsy little franchise.
They almost got the
now.
Eagles again.
I know.
That was almost 2 years in a row.
2 games in a row. There was an OT win earlier in Philadelphia this season. So yeah, the Commanders, they're kind of the little engine that can, but they won't because they're looking to rebuild.
What defense was at least back to right this over the weekend was Cowboys, man.
Wow. That
Ooh,
was
they dropped a 40 burger.
Yeah, the
On
Cowboys,
the Rams.
they took a 10-3 lead late in the first quarter and didn't look back.
And by the
Yeah.
way, at the beginning of that game, Dak Prescott was getting hit on every single play. And
Oh,
he
yeah.
was able to step up and actually work through it, which I was impressed with Dak more than almost anyone this weekend.
They scored points on offense. They scored points on defense.
That,
They scored points on
Bland,
special
is that his
teams.
name?
Deron Bland.
Deron Bland, it seems like he's getting a pick six every other game.
Well, it's his third pick six of the season against Matthew Stafford, who, by the way, look, Matthew Stafford on that play should not have thrown it to Cooper Kupp. The blitz was coming off the right side, and you have Tyler Higbee sit down on his route in front of a corner playing big boy, like box out, under the rim basketball. Just throw it to him over the blitz. Instead, he knows he has time because it's a short route developing to the left side to Cooper Kupp, but he threw late to the flat. And Deron Bland, that was a film study pick. He knew exactly what they were doing to them out of that formation, out of that personnel grouping. And good on him because he took it to the house, and that really helped build some confidence.
It looked almost identical to the pick six he had on Daniel Jones earlier in the year.
Listen, it's going to be a long, hard year for the Rams if they play like that often. I don't think they will. I think the Cowboys, after a week's rest, they definitely got it together. We'll see what happens, though. This is what Dak Prescott and the Cowboys do to us, right? They make believers out of you certain weeks, and then their inconsistencies appear again later in the season.
Next week they're getting their ass kicked. You can lock that down.
No question.
Where they play next week?
I don't know. What's next on the Cowboys schedule? They're about to go into the teeth of their schedule. I know that it might be Philadelphia.
Cowboys get the Eagles next weekend.
Yep,
Well,
yep.
CeeDee Lamb stays hot. Although, God, Philadelphia's got some weapons, man.
By the way, before we scram here and we talk to Bridget Condon about Sunday Night Football, Chargers, Bears, and she's actually in Detroit. She's going to give us a preview. Raiders, Lions coming up in just a minute. I want to talk to you about San Diego County Toyota dealers. They're all around San Diego County. You do not have to look far. And I drive a 4Runner, proudly drive a 4Runner. Love my Toyota. If you get yourself into a Toyota, you'll understand why. First of all, every car or truck or SUV from the outside looks like it won't have as much space. It's like an optical illusion. It's like a magic act. You step inside of this thing, you're like, wow, I have leg room for the first time since I've ever been driving. The 4Runner, it accommodates your passengers in the back with movable seats, adjustable seats in the back. If you have car seats like we do, 2 little kids, it helps out there as well. Plus, you could stow down the back row if you need to take a trip and pack your bags, or you can fold it back up if you got visitors coming in town in San Diego like they always do around the holidays, and they're coming quickly. 4Runner's perfect for our family, but if you're looking for an electrified vehicle, the Beyond Zero lineup of e-cars from Toyota is incredible. I drive around in my mother-in-law's Prius when I go up to LA. Again, another roomier car on the inside than it looks from the outside. I step into that thing, it feels like I'm operating a space shuttle. I absolutely love Toyota's lineup and the trucks. Ben Fletch, he drives around in the Tacoma, man. I love that thing. In fact, we might have to do a car swap one of these days.
No.
You take the 4. No, you stop.
No.
I want the bed.
No, you need the Tundra.
No. You know what? Every time I start talking about Toyota, you're convincing me I might need a Tundra.
I need a Tundra.
We need a Tundra. Oh, actually, we need 2 Tundras. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get out to San Diego County Toyota dealers, and we're going to get Tundras. The Toyota Tundra is one of their many pickup trucks. They also have way more SUVs than just the 4Runner, and they've got more cars than just the Prius. Those are just some examples of. Get out to San Diego County Toyota dealers because they're friendly, they're informative, they have a tremendous amount of inventory on their lots, and they will get you in the correct vehicle for you. Totally reliable, best car I've ever owned. San Diego County Toyota dealers. Joining us next, Bridget Condon works with the NFL Network. She'll break down Sunday Night Football and look ahead to Monday Night Football on the other side.
The Chargers get a big win yesterday, and we got boots on the ground out in Detroit. We're going to be talking with Bridget Condon from the NFL Network coming up next.
All right, this update is presented by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Starting off with the NFL, Sunday Night Football, Chargers get a much-needed win over the Bears. Final score 30-13. Primetime tonight, we got Monday Night Football between the Raiders and the Lions in Detroit. Kickoff at 5:15. You're going to hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. In the World Series, all tied, one game apiece. The series travels to Arizona for the next 3 games, first of which going down tonight with the first pitch at 5:03. And in college football, Aztecs had their second bye week of the season over the weekend. They return home this Saturday. They'll be taking on Utah State. Kickoff scheduled for 4 p.m. Buy tickets at goaztecs.com. And while you're buying tickets for that, Aztecs basketball 1 week away. How exciting is that? Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
Try better with the mic on here. Works better if I turn that on. San Diego Sports 760. It's Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. And you do want to keep it locked in here because we still have a chance for you to win a pair of tickets to go see Lainey Wilson at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. That's happening August 23rd. You can get over to livenation.com for tickets or info. And just keep listening for your chance to win because something tells me you're going to need to listen to this next interview here as we get joined by from the NFL Network, Bridget Condon. She'll be on with us just a moment here because last night, Sunday Night Football, Chargers needed a win in a big way. Luckily, they were playing the Bears because the Bears turns out not that great, but the Chargers just looked absolutely fantastic. And joining us from Detroit, which we will get to as well, from the NFL Network, Bridget Condon. Bridget, how are you this morning?
I'm great. Looking out my window at beautiful Detroit. I am just fired up for this Monday night game.
Is it cold out there in Detroit, or is there some weird like summer leftovers happening?
It's freezing.
Is it? It's freezing and it's
Since
miserable.
moving to LA,
yeah.
I'm originally from Boston, so I'm like embarrassed to even say it. But I was walking around the city and I had to keep my hands in my pockets this morning because I was so cold.
It's the worst. Cold weather. I mean, like also grew up in the Northeast in New York, played with the Patriots in New England, like used to the cold growing up. But you live in Southern California, even like 3 years is all it takes. Like you lose all of that, whatever it is. Like that.
Our worst day is like 52 degrees.
Yeah, look.
We're so spoiled. I'm like, okay, I need to thicken my skin or something. I got to get back to Boston. Honestly, I'm embarrassed of myself.
Yeah. You know, speaking of thick skin, Brandon Staley, I will say this for everything negative that everybody says about the Chargers head coach,
He's a bad coach.
He's sort of undaunted in his approach, right? Didn't need too many crucial fourth down decisions to be made last night, Sunday Night Football against the Chicago Bears. But throughout the season and throughout his career, his short career as a head coach in the league, there's been a lot of controversies around his decision-making on fourth down or near the goal line or 2 minute or 2-point circumstances. It's an interesting dilemma he has. You either stick to your guns and you defend the culture you've created, or you amend your ideas and you appease the fan base and maybe the front office potentially, but it kind of feels like you're going against your original proposal in terms of being a head coach in the first place, right, Bridget? I mean, I'm trying to make sense of it. It's really got to be a tough spot for him to be on this pulpit every week defending some of those bad decisions already that he's made this season and continuing to stick to those guns.
One of the most fascinating things about Brandon Staley, and I've been covering this team now for three seasons, is it feels like he does not care what anybody else says. It's almost like we all should take a little page out of his book, because on those Monday press conferences on Zoom or whatever it is, he doesn't ever walk back his decision. He's always firm in it. He always says, analytics, this is the best thing for our team. And, you know, I think there's a little bit of it where you take your hat off to him because he believes in his players, right? He believes in Justin Herbert when he's calling a 4th and 1 and has his offense out there. If I'm a player, I love that, right? Because my coach believes in me and believes that I can get the job done. But it's the situations where it doesn't work out that you wonder, okay, why are you not being a little bit more restrictive in that play calling? But Brandon Staley is going to be Brandon Staley. He's not going to worry about what anybody else says. And you have to respect that a little bit, right? Because, I mean, he was even asked this week, is there any concern? How are you feeling about your job status with everything going on? And he was like, look, it's the NFL. This is the point of the season where we're going to have to play better. And he believed in his team. He thought they had a great week of practice and they got the win. So, I mean, it's such an up and down feeling, right? Covering this team, because it's like, is he going to get fired? Is he, the best coach in the NFL? His players love him. It's like a roller coaster, but we're all a part of the ride.
Bridget, Justin Herbert, just went off last night. Was this a statement game? Was he trying to show like, hey, look, I'm not irrelevant. I am the guy. Or was this just a standard issue game for this guy?
I think what we saw is he's healing from that finger, right? We forget that has been an issue the past 3 weeks, now 4 weeks. This was the first game he didn't play with the glove. I think it was impacting him a lot more than he let us believe. That's the kind of player he is, even playing with the rib injury last season. He's never really going to let us in knowing how much pain he's in or how much that's affecting his game. Last week, he did say there was issues with that glove. They sewed on a longer middle finger and it came off. And so there was, I think, a lot going on behind the scenes last week. He didn't wear that glove this week. It felt like he had better control of the ball. He found his receivers, got the passing game going a lot better. Obviously, when you have Austin Eckler involved in the passing game, that's going to help with Justin Herbert too. So I don't necessarily think this is a statement win. I think we just saw that this is who Justin Herbert truly is. In the past couple of weeks, he wasn't himself.
Bridget, what's crazy is having a longer middle finger while driving around the streets of LA could be very beneficial.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Time out.
Yeah.
Time out already?
Take a lap. This happens every show. He
TD dad
embarrasses
jokes.
us in front of our friends.
This is a really good show.
Bridget, we got a Monday night football game coming up tonight. That's why you're in Detroit. But the Lions last week get embarrassed by the Baltimore Ravens. Now it feels like a get-right situation for them against the Las Vegas Raiders, who have kind of struggled all year. How do you see tonight playing out?
Yeah, I think this city is so excited just walking around last night and this morning. There are so many Lions fans that I've seen, even just having dinner last night. That's what everyone's talking about. The first game on Monday night here since 2018. It feels like, in talking with people, this is almost too good to be true for Lions fans. And I think last week was kind of that reality check. So it's going to be huge. If they can find a way to win and have that stage on Monday Night Football, get a win in front of their fans, I think, things are going to be absolutely insane here. I do, though, I'm just curious to know, it's the NFL. So many things happened yesterday. Broncos beat the Chiefs, for example, right? That I think none of us would have thought. So I'm not one to say, this is the Lions game, this is the Raiders game, whatever. I think there's great storylines on both sides of it. I wrote an article that was just posted on NFL.com this morning. Max Crosby, he's from here. He's from Michigan. He moved to Texas when he was like 11. But I talked with him this week in my interviews, and he was like, "Oh, I can't wait." That's all I can say. I can't wait. I was like, "Were you mad that they didn't draft you?" Because the Lions had 3 chances to take him before the Oakland Raiders did in 2019. And he was like, "I wouldn't say I'm mad, but I remember everything. I remember everything. Let's just leave it at that." So if Max Crosby has a breakout game, Jimmy Garoppolo's back, this could be really interesting tonight. Of course, you want to, for the city and for Dan Campbell and what Lions fans have endured, you would like to think you want to see things go their way. But I just, I think it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, I cannot wait to watch that matchup. The Raiders O-line obviously taking on Aiden Hutchinson, and then the opposing offensive line handling Max Crosby, who, I think is one of the most underrated players in the NFL, period. Like, that's the end of that sentence. Bridget Condon joining us, NFL Network, covers all teams, but focus on the Chargers over the last 3 seasons. You can find her on Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it now, Bridget Condon _ So Bridget, before we let you leave, that game against Baltimore did not deter my confidence in the Detroit Lions, and it really is because of one man, and that's Dan Campbell. I am a Dan Campbell believer. He just seems like he's got the right stuff as a head coach, kind of an out of nowhere choice by Detroit. They gave him a 6-year contract, which signaled to me that they're committed to allowing him to build the culture, and it's really worked there. Not only has he captivated that locker room, but as you mentioned, that fan base, the city feels more alive, or I should say, at very least, the fan base feels more alive as a result. What do you make of Dan Campbell's ascent to being one of the better motivators in the NFL?
I think this team loves him, and he has done such a good job turning this organization around, this city around. I really do believe that he is that extra juice that this team needed. They had a lot of talent, right? But it just takes someone to believe in you. We even saw it, in the Chargers. A lot of the players were talking in the locker room last night about how Derek Ansley, the defensive coordinator after last week, came in and was like, "Let's have fun. Like, let's stop pointing fingers. Let's just have fun and believe in ourselves." And it worked for them. That's kind of what these teams need, is just someone to be like, "Hey, I know you've gone through so much over the past decade, but we're going to be good." We all saw it on Hard Knocks, how much he really had to train their minds to believe you're in the NFL. You're just as talented as other NFL teams. You can do this. And I think once they started believing, we started seeing that success. And they've won 3 of their past primetime games. That's huge for this Lions team. And tonight is just another test, but they have the right guy, steering the ship tonight, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Looking forward to that matchup, as I know you are. Bridget, we appreciate your time on the show this morning. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Have a great week.
Yeah, there she goes, Bridget Condon over there in Detroit with the NFL Network. Huge matchup here for Detroit, bouncing back. And frankly, for the Raiders, too. Searching for relevance in the AFC overall, but especially in their division. Are we expecting much out of them tonight?
More than they've been with Aiden O'Connell and your boy Brian Hoyer.
You son of a...
I like Brian a lot.
How could you do that?
He's not that great anymore.
He has done nothing.
Former 49ers quarterback Brian Hoyer.
The only things that he says about you, Fletch, are nice things. I talk to him all the time. And I say, "Brian, what do you think of the show?" And he goes, "I really like that Fletch guy."
Yep.
And you know what?
Yep.
I'm going to report back to him what you just said. You sick son of a...
with the Raiders this year, he has not been a good quarterback.
Mhm.
His job
No.
is literally to be an assistant
Listen,
coach,
Nope,
but they
listen.
give him a player designation.
You're not walking this one back.
I think Brian's a brilliant mind. He's not a good athlete anymore.
Toothpaste is out of the tube, Ben.
Do we want to give a
Toothpaste.
code word to give away Lainey Wilson tickets?
Dump.
Dump is the code word.
Wow. We took with our show.
Make sure
I
you
gotta
write
dip,
that down.
check,
You're going to need
look.
it. You're going to need it in just a few minutes here.
Sweet
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay. No easy segues in sports talk radio, but I do want to talk to you about football and basketball season both being underway. And there's no better way to get in on the action than Underdog Fantasy and their pick'em game. That's right. It's fantasy, but you can win real money. I do it all the time. Okay. So with Underdog Fantasy, they got this pick'em game where you pick between 2 and 5 players. You select whether they're going to go higher or lower on their stats. That's it. Like they're going to give you, I don't know, receiving yardage or touchdown passes, and you're going to pick higher or lower. That's all you got to do. You're going to pick how many rebounds somebody may have, higher or lower. That's it. That's it. And then you can win tons of money, up to 20 times your money by going 5 for 5, completely legal in California. Ton of fun. I've done this many times with the 5-player pick'em. Super fun winning all that money. Woo, love that money. But I also do it with 2-player pick'ems, and I get 3 times my money with the 3-player or the 2-player pick'ems as well. Build your dream team today. Go to their easy-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign with promo code XTRA, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $500, but only for a limited time. Plus, new customers will have a mystery special pick live in their Pick'em lobby. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code XTRA. Get your first deposit doubled of $10 or more, up to $500, plus that special pick in the Pick'em lobby. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit ncpgambling.org. Coming up next, remember that code word, and we are going to give away Lainey Wilson tickets on the other side.
Next.
Okay, coming up next, the best Halloween party you haven't heard about yet. Also, Lainey Wilson tickets for an August show coming up next. Hey, it's Big Rich for San Diego, or excuse me, SDFatLoss.com. SDFatLoss.com has turned me from Big Rich into Skinny Rich. All of a sudden, I'm fitting into clothes that I haven't fit in a long time. Actually, this is actually something that everybody can do. You can go back through my social media, and I was posting some earlier clips of jumping on the TV show after Sunday Night Football, and you can see how ill-fitting my suits looked at the start of the season, and then how much better I look now as the season progressed because of SDFatLoss.com. We've all done it together. We've done it as a group. Ben's lost close to 40 pounds. I've lost over 35. Travis is
30
down
pounds.
30 pounds as of today. Like we're looking much better. And more importantly than that, it's not how you look. It's like what's going on in the insides, the innards, right? We're all feeling better. Like it's very strange to realize how much of an impact the foods you eat and the weight you're carrying around affects your mood, affects your ability to do things you want to do. But that's exactly what our experiences were together. And now together we're experiencing the opposite side of that. We're really enjoying the fruits of our labor. And it's all thanks to our weight loss team over at SDFatLoss.com, Wayne and Chloe. You need to get on the phone with them today. If you've been struggling with your weight, if you've been looking for a plan that actually works with real support from real people who are going to help motivate you and also push you, they're going to push you a little bit. And it's what you need. 858-665-3211. That's 858-665-3211. Or head to sdfatloss.com. Oh my gosh, we've had a lot of fun today on this very busy Monday. Ben okay, so two things Ben brought up. Fletch. Call him Fletch because that's the name on the show. Look, Fletch told me that today is the sports equinox.
Yes.
And I
It
had
is.
no idea.
All four major sports leagues in the United States of America are playing today. So hockey, NBA, MLB, NFL.
That's awesome.
Wow.
It's only the 30th time in our country's history that has happened.
So we got the World Series Game 3 on tonight. Many NBA games, many hockey games, and we've got obviously Monday Night Football. Yeah.
That's
Wow.
the forfecta.
The forfecta. Also, TD and Travis Kelce weigh the exact same weight.
We almost look the same.
Well, with that jersey on, I honestly, when he walked in,
That's what I was gonna say when he was doing his little NFL moves over there. I was like, "Damn, maybe that is Travis Kelce."
Yeah. I was.
Except he's 6'5", and you're. That's all.
I'm 5'11". 5'11".
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm like an inch taller than you.
Yeah. Saved it till the end of the show. Travis Dale was spilling everything all over the place in our office
Oh
on
my
Friday
gosh.
afternoon and laying on the ground while trying to pick it all up
What?
while giggling hysterically.
Wasn't my fault, okay?
No, of course not.
What? Look.
So there was a point where the show's over. Okay, Barker Friday is over. In effect, it's over. We're cleaning up. We're putting away some equipment. We're helping Tony Conja, who, by the way, Keg and Bottle, 10 locations around San Diego. Tony Conja is like he doesn't have to do anything. He comes in here and he cleans this entire studio.
Yes, he does.
We can't get him to stop. He cleans up everything. I mean, it's like I don't know. I can't say enough good things about Tony.
1 in a million, dude.
Yeah.
1 in a million, dude. But anyways, so after the show's over and Tony is racing around, pouring out drinks and cleaning up the studio, and we're helping him out and break down some equipment, Travis literally grabbed a bottle of something and was drinking in large gulps. I'm like, oh man, we've lost him.
Busa.
Oh, it was an espresso martini.
Wait, hold on though. Wait. I didn't grab it. Fletch walks in, hands it to me, and says, "Drink that." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like,
"Call me
"Yeah."
the catalyst."
He's like, "Just go ahead, waterfall pull."
Tony really likes it when you're drunk.
What?
It is true.
Well-
He stayed extra long on Friday because like I can't get enough TD.
All I know is the cup that had some Cheez-Its and trail mix in it was slippery.
Yeah,
I
you
could not hold on to
Yeah,
it.
the real reason it's empty is because Travis spilled it.
spill it all, and then he did it twice. He spilled in here.
Dude.
He spilled in our office
Twice?
Yeah, I guess it was more than that.
Listen, it happens, all right? It gets tricky.
Yeah. Things. You know, the hours the minutes they turn into hours.
Yeah.
The hours they turn into multiple hours, and
Every once in a while, Travis Kelsey drops a pass. It's okay.
Yeah. Everybody has their Friday. Last Friday was your Friday. So
Hey,
Laney
This Friday
Wilson
might be
tickets.
my Friday again.
It seems like every Friday is our Friday. Laney Wilson tickets. This is an August 23rd show, I want to say.
You nailed it.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a Friday, by the way.
Over at North
Ooh,
Island Credit
that's
Union
good.
Amphitheater.
That's
That is a
good.
good one.
I'll be there.
I love me some Laney Wilson. I'm not even 100% sure if she's a singer. but
Got a heart like a truck.
I like looking at her. She is an attractive country singer and also a pretty talented one, I hear.
Great actress, too. She was
Really?
on Yellowstone.
Oh, she was in the show?
Mhm.
When
Okay.
she was?
Yes, that's how she that's how she got her start.
It was?
She was a singer
Oh.
in the show Yellowstone.
Oh,
yeah.
she was.
Yes.
Like, so what, did she live in the little,
No.
oh, she was just a singer on the show?
She ended up. It's not important. But she ended up dating the guy that they call Cowboy.
Very
You know,
important.
or the singer guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. So Laney
Okay.
Wilson got her start in Yellowstone and
Okay.
she makes her way to San Diego in August. LiveNation.com for tickets and information. If you want to see that show, though, we gave out a code word. I think you know what that code word is.
Apparently our listeners do because lines have lit up.
We haven't even given out the number yet. 844-570-1360. If you want to see Laney Wilson play, give a call right now. And we will give out the tickets to the first caller who calls in with the correct code word. We're going to answer the phone at random. Whichever line Fletch picks up is the one that gets those tickets if they have the correct code word. Also, we're going to have to get to this Halloween party that's being thrown tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are
we are.
No, we can't
should go.
We can't go, but we should.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And then
there.
we'll have a Halloween party here as well because tomorrow is Hallow freaking Ween.
Yep. Aztecs back in action this weekend against Utah State.
1 week away from the Aztecs basketball opener.
We got 1 week until Aztecs open their basketball season. Monday Night Football, break that down tomorrow. Game 3 of the World Series. Who do we thank today, Ben?
We thank Bridget Condon.
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 You nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't have
You
it
got
right
to
in
keep
front of me.
those letters straight right at the end there.
The head coach of the Aztecs, Brady Hoke, also joined the show. Thank you to everyone who was listening. If you're listening on the free iHeartRadio app, the rest of it's podcasted, so go check it out and share that link with a friend. Why don't you?
TD, anything else to add?
Love you guys.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Me too.
Love you too, TK. You owe us a lap.
I'll fit one in right now.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow.